Yes, I'm also live. Awesome. So, do you wanna start us off?
Sure. Um, my name is TheBraggs. I am a Native American VTuber. Welcome into the community. I'm here with Joey D. King.
Hello, hello.
Um, streams both on Twitch and YouTube, right?
So yeah, I stream on Twitch, stream on YouTube. They're my main platforms. I also stream on Twitch. I haven't really got much traction on that, and I also stream on VStream as well.
Okay. I haven't heard of VStream. You'll have to send me a link to that later.
Yeah. VStream, it's like this streaming service just for virtual streamers. Um, and it's been pretty nice, especially when my stream didn't really have a home, let's say, a while ago. But like now that I'm back on Twitch and also on YouTube, which I guess are my main platforms for now, yeah, VStream's been nice to me, so I still stream there. Oh, hey
Okay.
Milo, hello.
Uh, when you when you play your games and talk to the community, what community slash chat can you expect as far as interactions, and what games can they expect to see you play?
I mean, honestly, it's mostly just been my friends. Sometimes I get like random chatters come in. That's always nice. So far, I haven't really had any consistent chatting. It just kind of really depends. But in terms of games, like I'll play. I've been playing mostly just the games I like, right? If it's a game I don't like, I probably won't stream it or play it. But I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate. I got a bunch of miscellaneous streams planned, right? Like I was thinking of doing a Just Dance stream with some friends, and I had an ASMR stream planned in the future. Got everything set up. I just need to, test the audio because that's the most important part about ASMR streams. Um,
Right.
right. So, like, this is all very good from an administrative standpoint, I guess, but like, I feel like that doesn't really get like the essence of why I stream, right? Because, like, okay, don't mean to derail or anything in case you had any follow up questions. Did you have any follow ups?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
totally.
This the whole point of this is to get it out.
Yeah,
Talk.
yeah.
The whole thing.
So the whole deal is that for me, now again, like this is different for every person and stuff like that, but for me, I tend to look at it as more of a performance art. um I know I've said this before to other people that have interviewed me and like combed my brain
Or
and stuff like that, but the way I see it, there's three main reasons people get into streaming at all, right? um the three main reasons I see people get into streaming are for popularity, for money, and for artistic expression. Now, I don't have any judgments for whatever reasons people get in or for why they do it and stuff like that. That's all fine. That's all well and good in my book. So given those three reasons, the one I chose, the one I'm pursuing right now, is artistic expression. I like streaming because I see it as a performance art, right? You have to be there for the performance of it. Like, are you familiar with busker statues?
I am not familiar.
Yes. One time I went to New York, Times Square, right? And busker statues are those guys that paint themselves metallic and they stand in Times Square and they don't move at all, right?
Oh.
Yes, and they will get gratuities from people passing by. They might tip them $1, might tip them $5, something like that. Now, here's the thing. Maybe it's just that I'm just a little ignorant on busker statue culture, but if I had to ask, do you think they do it like for the money? Do you think they do it because like they think they're gonna get rich?
From my attempt at it, as far as from my viewpoint on it, I don't know if they're doing it for just scraping by money wise, but I know for a fact it's not like it's
Like it's not the most effective way to make money. Let's say that.
right.
Right.
And I know they're not doing it for charity.
Right.
Like they're doing it as a means to an end, just day to day
Could
life.
be right. Um, it could also be for the popularity. It isn't the most effective way to get popular. But personally, for me, I think many of them do it for the artistic expression of it, for the performance art of it. They go where the people are, and they perform. Their performance, of course, being the statue. Kind of ironic. The sort of inactivity of it is what represents its artistic value, and one you normally would consider some sort of movement, some sort of activity to be of artistic value. But in this case, it's very much the opposite, right? Not moving is what gives it its value, right? So I would say, many of them do it because, well, it is a form of artistic expression. Specifically, it's a performance art. It's an art that is done with the inclusion of performance as part of it, right? Like you can watch a video of a busker statue, right? You can watch a recording of a busker, but it wouldn't really be the same as like seeing it in person, right?
Right.
Yeah, and in my opinion, streaming is also a performance art, and that would make virtual streamers performance artists, whether they think so or not. But I consider myself a performance artist, so that's the main reason why I did it. But when I started, I wasn't really sure why I wanted to do it. Like, if I got popular, I got popular. If I made money, I made money. But if I got to express myself creatively, then also so be it. I feel like a lot of people when they get into it, they don't know what they're going to go into it for out of those three reasons I said. I feel like after a while, you start to realize where you're making the most headway and you sort of go headfirst into that, right? But again, no judgments for whatever reason people decide to start streaming. But for me, that's my current reason. And I'd say that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me, in front of this microphone every week.
Okay. I mean, to each their own.
Of
If
course.
that's the way you wanted to view it, that's the way you wanted to view it.
Right, right.
For me, it's not about money. I haven't made I've made one paid out in 6 years of me streaming. This is just me going out, having fun, hanging out with people, doing my interactions because I'm a homebody. I'm a hermit.
Right.
I don't go out. Like at most, I go out for groceries. I don't go out and party. I don't go out hang out with people. That's just not who I am. I would rather sit and talk to somebody, have an intellectual conversation versus going out for drinks. When you're focusing on drinks, you're focusing on what you're trying to forget.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. So, um, this brings up a possible fourth reason, which I've mentioned before, but another one I see people get into is they get into it to make friends. And again, no judgment. That's all well and good. And in a way, I've sort of done that myself because I've collabed with a lot of people, made a lot of friends, and I'd say it's been very fulfilling. The artistic expression of it, and also the making good friends aspect of it. But yeah, I've been streaming since the end of April. I think I started my debut April 28th of last year. So it's been a couple months. It's been a couple months I've been streaming. Haven't missed a week. There were some streams I couldn't make it, but for the most part, I've been sticking to my schedule. Keeping at it, going in front of the mic, doing my stream, doing my thing. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it. Right? I feel like I've definitely learned some new skills I didn't have beforehand. One of the most important ones being blathering. I feel like as a streamer, you go in front of the mic, you go in front of the camera or whatever. Blathering is a very useful skill that many streamers have to develop. Because, the whole thing about like dead air and stuff like that. Blathering is what sort of gives you a sort of canvas to start doing the performance that you're going to do, right? Blathering would be like, your paint, I'd say.
Right. If not your paint, then it's got to be at least the style you're using the brush stroke.
Sure, right. Like,
Just following your reference. Sorry.
yeah, to put it in like a metaphor. Yeah, of course, right? Um, so let me see. Let me talk about. So we could probably talk a bit about me. I'm the guest here. I'm sure you'd be very interested to know some stuff about me. This is our first time actually talking to each other, right? Like we've discussed over
Yeah,
text
this is our first
before.
time actually communicating. Like we've had a few "Hey's, how are yous" in your chat
Mm-hmm.
before. We've had a brief communication on Discord and on Twitter, but other than that, we haven't really communicated. I do want to know more about you, especially your model.
Oh,
Like
yes, we can start with that then.
I love I love the the physicality of the model,
Yes.
the way you present yourself. But I do want to find out about it. Like, what's up with the necktie?
Hmm.
Why is the face painted the way it's painted?
Right, right.
And uh, what made you decide to wear suspenders?
Yeah, all these are very good questions. Everything about my model has been very meticulously thought out. So maybe we could start a bit with a story. I love this story. I've told this story for many a times, but I love telling people it. So, I don't mind bringing it up again. So let's start with a little story, right? So this was a little over a year ago, right? A little over a year ago, I was just, picking my life back together from the virus and, getting, working, doing my thing, and I was browsing through YouTube, right? I was browsing through YouTube like I normally do, just watching video essays, true crime stuff, creepypasta stuff, normal, listening to music, normal YouTube stuff. And I saw over at the top there was a logo, right? YouTube does this thing sometimes that Google does. You know how Google they'll change the logo based on like, something that they want to celebrate, something they want people to show, right? They'll change their Google logo. YouTube does the same thing.
Right.
Sometimes they'll do it, right? But this time, the YouTube logo was in celebration of virtual streamers, commonly dubbed VTubers, right? And I saw it, and
Right.
I was like, "That's interesting," because I watch these virtual streamers, right? I know a lot about them. I know a lot about their culture, right? I hop in on a stream every now and again, leave a comment, leave a like, all that stuff. And I'm like, it always seemed to me like such an underground thing for me, right? It always seemed like this was always a very sort of subculture that was never super popular, at least from my perspective. So to see it like be in celebration in the YouTube logo really got me thinking. This whole virtual streamer thing is like getting kind of big. It's like getting kind of mainstream now. Something I never thought I'd say. But I've seen it before with other fandoms, so it didn't surprise me too much. So now that I saw that these streamers are becoming kind of mainstream, right? Double stream there, mainstream virtual streamer. I was like, okay, well, everything that's big, everything, right? Like every single sort of culture that becomes extremely popular, right? Like, anime, very big, Disney movies very big, rock and roll was very big. All of these big mainstream what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of another word other than culture, but like, all these big mainstream things, they always have some form of parody eventually when they become popular enough, right? Like, an example you might know of is so Disney fairy tales, right? Cinderella, Tinkerbell, classic Disney fairy tale animation, right? What is the what was the parody of that in its heyday? I'd say that would probably be Shrek, right? Shrek was at its core, Shrek 1 and 2 at least, were Disney fairy tale parodies. It was animated like a Disney fairy tale, it had Disney fairy tales in it, but it definitely didn't really play out like a Disney fairy tale. Shrek was anything but a classic Disney protagonist, I'd say.
Right.
That would actually be a great example of what's dubbed inversion parody. Shrek and, at its core, Shrek 1 and 2 at least, were great examples of inversion parody. They would take Disney fairy tale and they would flip it on its head and they would invert it and parody it, right? That's because it got that big, right? Shrek wouldn't be as big as it is if Disney fairy tale wasn't as popular as it was, because what would it be parodying? It'd be parodying something people wouldn't even know about. So everything that gets big, right? Everything that gets mainstream eventually gets a parody of it, right? Like, I don't know, okay, like shonen, right? Like you're familiar with like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, stuff like that, right? You still there, Bags?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was in the middle of talking to Chad as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, no worries. I get you. Um,
I didn't want to overlap you. I was just saying thank you for the follow.
of course, no worries. Um, but like, yeah, so if you're familiar with shonen, classic shonen stuff, the current parody of that would be something like One Punch Man, right? One Punch Man is what is called exaggeration parody, being you take something and you exaggerate it to the point that it's parody, right? Like One Punch Man, he beats them all in one punch. That's his thing, right? He's exaggerating the power of the shonen protagonist through exaggeration parody. let me see what else is there. There's stuff like South Park. That would be the last branch of parody. What's dubbed what was it? There was a name for it. There's inversion parody, exaggeration parody, and what's the last one? It escapes my mind, but it's essentially where you misrepresent what you're trying to show in a very basic sense in order to parody it. So like stuff like South Park, stuff like Archer. That would be the last form of parody. So when I saw virtual streamers became mainstream, and sorry if this story's taken too long, I just find it very interesting. Um, it,
No, go for it. I'm all about research and learning things new,
yeah,
so I'm
totally,
all for it.
totally. Like I love finding new nuggets of knowledge. It makes me a bit more correct next time I bring something up because I have a bit more knowledge on it. So for me,
Reenactment question mark?
exactly right. So when I saw virtual streamers had become so mainstream to this point, I thought, well, where is the parody? Where's the parody of the virtual streamer, right? Where is the virtual streamer parody? Like, there's this one archetype I see a lot nowadays. You're probably familiar with it. I call it, or rather, it's not that I call it. I think I heard someone call it this, but it's called cute but deadly. I also see a slight variation of it where it's something more similar to vulgar but cute, or cute but vulgar, something like that. And I see that archetype a lot. I feel like it's been played to death at this point. In my opinion, I think who did it best was probably Mandy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, right? Everything after that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
if you're familiar with Mandy, you're probably familiar with the cute but deadly archetype. I see this a lot in virtual streamers, and it worked. It's very, very good. It's very, very effective. But I was looking for, but since it's so effective and so played out, I thought, well, what would really be a parody of that, right? Like, what would be the parody virtual streamer? And given all the knowledge I knew about virtual streamers and their culture and their fans and all that stuff, I used all that knowledge to design Joey as you see him today, as you see him right now, actually. So, with that context in mind, some of this stuff starts to make a little bit of sense, right? Like, what's with the face, right? Well, right, like why the pose, right? Why is Joey slightly overweight? What's with all that? Well, if you look at what virtual streamers normally look like, and you look at me, right, you can start to see well, I would like to consider myself an inversion parody of virtual streamers, the Shrek, what Shrek is to Disney fairy tales. And it's
Okay.
not just
I got
and it's not just in the look. It's also like in the stuff I choose to stream, the things I do, all that stuff. I feel like has been very meticulously planned out to that end. So, now that we have that context, let's just break down. Let's just do a little fashion show real quick, right? Okay.
All
Let's
right.
start at the bottom. Do my shoes show up right now on your end too, or is it just on my stream?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the shoes. Personally speaking, I'm big into men's fashion, and I think one of the most important things in men's fashion is the shoes. I think it's the foundation to which a man's fashion choices is all built upon the shoes. So I started with the shoes, and the shoes in this case would be, well, they're pebbled leather. I was originally going with red, but I eventually went with more muted brown, right? So some pebbled leather shoes. Um, Let's see here. You could catch a bit of my socks there. There's some cougar print socks, I guess. Very classy. And a some pinstripe pants, borrowed a little bit from the Joker, a little bit from Waluigi, with matching suspenders, a little gold trim. Let's see. I got a wife beater with a little tear on it right there. And of course, I have my classic red tie. Now, in terms of the clothes, there's something very interesting going on. There's a lot of repeated use of straight lines in my design, and that's very much on purpose. Yeah. Like the pebbled leather shoes are in sort of square shape, right? The pinstripe pants have, lines that go vertically up and down. My wife beater has lines that go horizontal, and my tie has lines that go in diagonals. But all these are straight lines, nothing very curved, right?
Right.
And that's very much intentional because in my lore, oh man, I hate going on so many tangents when we're just talking about like why my model looks the way it was, but all this is kind of tied into like other stuff. You know what I mean? So
Right.
hope you don't mind if I go on another tangent. I'm gonna be saying that a lot. Um,
You don't have to apologize for it. I mean, honestly, just talk. This is the whole point of the interview is getting to know you and getting to know what you're about. So if it's lore based or if it's something revolving around your lore, I really don't
Oh,
mind.
very nice, very nice. Okay. I wonder if I could bring this up because you kind of need to see it. There's another character in my lore. Uh, I wonder how I can show this to you so everyone can see what I'm talking about. But there's another character in my lore, very important. Wait, actually, let me see.
As Aura says, when you're into something, you're going to be passionate about it and want to talk about it. So it's definitely something we want to hear
Ah,
about.
thank you, Aura. Appreciate it. Um, I'm just trying to figure out a way on how I could show you this other character because I have the PNG of it. I kind of have it almost everywhere, but let's
If you have the PNG of it or like a PNG that you can put on Fugi Reactive, I can put it on screen real
put
quick.
it on Fugi Reactive. It's kind of because Fugi Reactive only takes square images, or
Okay.
it'll take.
You can send it to me in
Yeah,
DMs.
yeah, yeah. It'll also take the image and sort of square it up for me anyway. So let me see if I can send it to you through DMs, and then I'll have to bring it up on my screen too. But just give me one sec. Da, da, da. Let's go here. Or wait, actually, you know what? I also have a video of this character. I could just hold on. Maybe I could bring up a video of it as well. But this character I'm referring to is essentially my Oshi. Are you familiar with the term Oshi?
I am familiar with the term, knowing what it means. No.
Yes. So Oshi would just translate to the person you support, but usually in sort of this virtual streaming culture, it's the VTuber you watch the most, right? Because you support them, right?
Right.
But my Oshi has a very particular kind of Oshi. My Oshi is of my own design, but she's very strange. She's very strange. So my Oshi's name is Miss Pear Undies. That's Pear Undies, and her whole deal is she is like the greatest internet sensation ever. Right? She is like everything you can imagine. She's done it. Right? She's like, oh, she has like billions of subscribers. Her ASMR streams are so potent that you can never find a comment on it because everyone falls asleep instantly, right? Her YouTube play button is made out of smaller YouTube play button. It's just a big YouTube play button. It's huge.
Okay.
And her design was made specifically to sort of counter my design. If I could kind of bring it up, I can show you exactly what I mean. Do kind of a side by side comparison.
Well, I can actually show chat your stream if that's the way you wanted to look at it.
Let me see here. Da, da, da. Yeah, yeah. Let me just bring up a picture of it real quick. Okay. Where is it? Streaming. But, just to give a little bit of a background on her. Oh, here's a picture. Yeah, this is a nice picture. Okay, now I just got to capture that. Yeah, I should have came more prepared with all these images already set up. But, it's
You're perfectly fine.
yeah,
Perfectly
it's
fine.
it's nice just rediscovering it, going back into this lore of Joey's that I haven't touched in a long, long time. But it's fun. Let's see here. Done streaming. Uh, But yeah, do you have any comments so far? Any burning questions I can answer?
At the moment, no. I'm just chilling here, waiting for this image on your screen so that I can show chat.
Ah, okay, okay. The suspense, the
Um,
suspense.
it's all good. Let's see what is chat saying right now. Uh,
Most recent.
VTuber you admire? Yeah, that's your Oshi. Yeah, yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much, yeah. That's pretty much the gist of it. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. Let's see here. This would be number 3. Okay. Oh man, that's huge. Let's control F that. Okay, there we go. So she's up on screen right now. This is a picture of Miss Parent. These are just
Ooh.
I just Mike Wazowski just put her right on top like that. Yeah, so this was probably the first image I made of her. And just to show how exaggerated her thing is. So you know like a model reveal, right?
Right.
Her model reveal required, I'm not sure if I can even see that number. What is that number? There's a huge number at the top. Her model reveal required 34,803,468 likes and retweets to reveal the whole thing.
Wow.
Now, of course, that's just that's just her lore, but there's a reason why that number specifically. So my logic, the way I interpreted model reveals is, after you reach a certain number, right? Like you show this much of the leg, and then the chest, and then the head, and finally get the last thing, right? Like right here at the legs, we're at like what 11,601,156, something like that. So
Yeah.
my logic here was, well, each like and retweet will reveal 1 pixel of the image. And how many pixels are on this image? There's like 38 million of them. So for her model reveal, it will require that many likes and retweets, which is stupidly big. That's probably the biggest I've ever seen. But
Wow.
that's the point. She is exaggeration parody. Her thing is she's everything a virtual streamer is, and like are you familiar with Warhammer 40K?
I'm familiar to an extent.
Yeah, the deal with Warhammer 40K is it's sci-fi, but like everything to the extreme. Like the year's extreme, the wars are extremes, everything in Warhammer 40K is extreme. That's her deal, right? So I was like, what is the largest amount I've ever seen for like a model reveal, right? Maybe something in the thousands, something like that. I think I've seen once. So I'm like, okay, this one has to be like stupidly big, right? So each like and retweet like revealed 1 pixel of her model, which in total came out to 38 million. And the funny thing is, it's each pixel, not including the pixels on her model. So including these transparent pixels also counted as well. So that's yeah, exactly, right? Like that's the point. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be that exaggerated. But let's break down how her design's a little different from my design. So her design, I specifically made sure that there were as many curves as I could fit on her as possible, because my design has plenty of straight lines. So to contrast that, I was like, okay, hers can have plenty of wavy lines. So that's the frills here on the chest piece, the 3-part, or rather the mini skirt that I think I designed off flower petals, but that's very curvy. The overall flower design. Let's talk about the head. I want to talk about the head for a bit, right? So one thing I noticed about virtual streamers is the importance of the bust and up, the chest and up, right? Everything from the waist up is extremely more important than everything from the waist down in terms of design, right? And
Right.
that's because
For the most part.
right, because when someone streams, it's usually from the chest up, right? Most of the time
Most of the time, yeah.
most of the time you don't get to see everything from the waist down. So because of that, there's a lot more focus on the top of the streamer, right? And because of that, I've noticed or not that I've noticed, but I saw a YouTube video on it. There was this YouTube video that pointed out that over time, virtual streamers have gotten more and more and more absurd headpieces. Right? Like if you look at early virtual streamers and look at streamers now, the headpieces have gotten bigger and more and more and more and more eye-catching, because that's where the focus is, right? You need to put the focus on the head. So give it a good headpiece, a sombrero, what have you, right? So I thought, okay, we're already in this big headpiece meta. What can I do to exaggerate that even more? Because it's already pretty exaggerated at this point. And I was like, oh, I'll make a sombrero, make it look like a halo. I'll take a sun hat, make it look like a halo. But that didn't really stick with me. And then the idea came to me like that. So her headpiece is actually a ring light, right? It's a ring light, which sort of doubles as like this halo, right? Which is its own symbolism and stuff like that. But not only is it a huge ring light, it also has this really long handle, and the handle is actually infinitely long. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going to the end of the universe. That is my way of exaggerating the virtual streamer headpiece as much as I could. So that's why she looks like this. That's what the big head ring thing is for. That's what all the curves are for. And also her name is a pun. Miss Parundies is a pun for Miss Parody, being she's parody, right?
Right.
Actually, another thing. Do you know how I came up with the name Joey D. King?
No.
That's a funny story. So I was originally just going to be called Joe King, but then I'm like, okay, that's too on the nose. Joe King, right? Like, you're joking, right? You're joking. So, I changed it to Joey King, right? And then my sibling told me this thing about One Piece that apparently everyone that's important in One Piece has a D as their middle name, like Monkey D. Luffy. And I thought, okay, that's kind of funny. So I incorporated that. So it came down to Joey D. King, which is just, a long way of saying joking. So my name's joking. My Oshi's name is parody. There's an ongoing theme here, as you can see.
Gotcha. Understood.
Yeah, so that's a long roundabout story way of saying that's why I have all these lines. I got the lines on the makeup with the sort of Harlequin thing going up and down. That's more of the line motif you see there. Actually, another thing, the tie. You asked about the tie, right?
Right.
Where did the tie come from? So hold on, if I could zoom in a bit, you notice there's something strange about the tie. It's red, right? Classic red. But you notice it has these crossed lines on it. What's with the crossed lines, right? Why does it have crossed lines for a tie? That's fairly unorthodox to have a tie with crossed lines like that. Well, I've actually seen this before, right? If you look at my Oshi, you notice that she's missing one fishnet stocking, right?
Oh shit. Okay.
That's the one. That's the one right there.
Okay. Um, that's actually a pretty good crossover
It's a
tie-in.
tie-in. It's a tie-in,
Um,
right?
right. Uh, Aura has a question for you.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my redeems to
Yes.
pose a question to the guest. She says, "Have you watched all of One
I have
Piece?"
not watched all of One Piece. Actually, I started watching One Piece a little over a year ago. I'm up to Thriller Bark. One day I sat down and my sibling was like, "You got to watch One Piece." I'm like, "I tried once. I got up to Arlong Park, and then I think I stopped for some reason. I think another anime came up, and they're like, "Okay, you got to watch One Piece. You got to watch One Piece." I'm like, "Okay." From this day forward, I will watch one episode of One Piece every single day, and I've watched one episode of One Piece every single day since then. And I'm already up to Thriller Bark, so I'm a little bit past the 1 year mark of watching One Piece. I'll catch up eventually in what, like 2, 3 years. I'll catch up, but I'll catch up. 1 year down, two more to go.
Don't forget, you got to watch all the movies too.
Ah, the movies too. The movies I'll watch for fun. The movies I've actually been watching the movies with some of my friends. One of my friends recommended we watch the sixth movie, which was pretty good. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but it has this guy with a bow and arrow. If you know, you know. And it was really good. I really liked the sixth movie.
I think I stopped watching One Piece at like 70 or 80 episodes in, and just I was nope, not my forte,
I get
not
that.
my style of
Of
anime.
course, I get that. It's not for everybody, of course. I'm curious what episode 70 or 80 was. Like, do you remember the last fill-in? It was probably Arlong. Big shark guy, big nose.
Uh, let's see. They were on an island. They were fighting one of the Marines trying to get off of the island, and there was some chick that had slippery lotion
Oh,
powers or some
maybe
shit.
Town. That's probably Town. It sounds like you were seeing them fight Alvida because she had her slippery. It's either the slippery fruit or the soap fruit. And there was a clown called Buggy there too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You stopped at Town. You stopped right at Town. Okay, interesting, interesting. But yeah, that's my story with One Piece. That's why I got these lines. The suspenders, of course, as you can imagine, were a continuation of the line motif, lines going straight up and down. There's a little curve to them, but that's just sort of the belly arc.
As for me, all of my models, informations and whatnot, the gauges with the feathers coming out are reminiscent of dream catchers. The tattoo going from the lip to the chest is actually a symbol for a warrior.
Oh, I see. I see.
Usually the cheekbones all the way down to the chin are supposed to be filled in, but that shows what tribe you're in.
Right.
And since I am tribeless, I am considered a tribeless warrior.
Mm-hmm.
The symbol on my chest is actually the symbol for good luck. Raven skull on the belt is actually just a raven skull because it's very nice to have your. I will put it this way: it's more of a religion thing than it is a actual Native American thing.
Okay, I see. I see. So I'm curious how you got the name the Braggs.
It's actually just my last name.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. Interesting. Interesting.
Um, Braggs is my last name. It's easier to answer to than most of the other stuff that I went through. I used to go by Gara as a gamer for a long, long time. And I just decided, you know what? Let's go by something I know I'm going to answer to in like a moment of panic, especially if like we're in a firefight or something and my teammates are trying to get to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple. It rolls off the tongue. It's just Braggs.
I get it.
It's
I
super
get it.
fast. Um, then yeah, like it's literally everything about my personality, my streams and whatnot come from IRL. It's not it's literally my VTuber is a medium in which I just don't have to show my face on stream. I don't mind showing my face um in like other social media platforms or anything like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
still images, sure, whatever,
Right.
right? I've done TikToks with my face and whatnot, but as far as streaming, no, never the face. It's the model or the PNG. Because there are certain things where I have to step away and whatnot, and I never know if I'm going to be in appropriate attire all the time.
Right.
I'd rather just have the VTuber there.
Okay. I see. I see. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like a lot of artists, content creators, and stuff like that do put a bit of themselves in everything that they do. You know, there's a bit of artistic honesty in every sort of piece that someone makes. Because, well, they're the creator, right? Like they put their experiences, they put their skill, they put their hard work into it. Like, I just like looking at stuff people create, whether it's music, whether it's, good food, whether it's, traditional art or digital art or what have you, and thinking, what can I extrapolate from the artist from this? Some might call it a, what's the phrase I'm thinking of? Some people might call it a vain, not vain, but rather a useless attempt, right? Like, what can one extrapolate from art, even if it doesn't make any sense? But I think that there's something more abstract going on that, a person can get from watching what someone creates, or, even just the end product, too. So, I do believe you, and I can relate, I can say.
Okay. Uh, we'll jump into something off of the actual design motif of our models and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when when you first started streaming and getting out there and whatnot, I understand it took you a while to debut and whatnot, but what was the reason why you wanted to start streaming? What was the reason why you wanted to start getting out there? You said it was for performance art, or is it something that you just wanted to go out and make friends and hang out with people, have another way of doing that? Like what was the major influence that made you want to start streaming?
So, hmm, that's a tough question to answer because it gets very personal. But from what I can say, because I'm always prepared to answer this question, but from what I can say, I went into it not knowing what I would be best at. What would like I went into it full knowing that I would be like completely swamped at the end of every stream. That I would just be no energy, and this would, kind of not really amount to much in terms of really anything. But I was surprised that after every stream, I was actually more energized. Because me, I work full time, right? I work 9 to 5. Monday to Friday, and sometimes I even work Saturday. So I don't have a lot of time to stream, right? That's usually why I only stream at night at 7 o'clock, because that's when I get home, get myself something to eat, and then, stream, or on the days I'm not streaming, work on the stream. So I went into it full knowing, I might not last. This might just be a huge energy dump, and, I'll get it out of my system for like a little bit. But after doing it like
Right.
the first couple weeks, I noticed after every stream, I was completely re energized, right? I would come home from work tired, but during the stream, after the stream, I would have so much energy. And it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I went into it thinking, okay, I'm going to be even more tired. Right, this is going to drain my energy. But it didn't. It didn't, which was surprising enough. But I guess the reason why I started, I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I just love talking about it. But the reason the reason I started was, one, I saw the opportunity for a parody virtual streamer. I didn't find it anywhere, right? I went looking and looking, like I couldn't find a streamer that parodies the culture, that parodies, what virtual streamers are at their core, really, right? I saw a lot of people doing a lot of the same thing, and that was fine because it makes it very easy to parody it, because you see the patterns, you see what everyone's doing, and you just sort of, turn on your creativity and think, well, what is the inversion of this? Yada yada yada. So that's what kept me going. For why I started, man, I'm like really digging deep without getting too personal into it. I guess like, I was at a time when I had a lot of free time, surprisingly enough. Like I was, picking the pieces of my life back together. But when I didn't have to constantly put out fires, I realized I had a lot of free time I wasn't doing for anything, right? Like, I would come home, play video games, prepare for work tomorrow, repeat onwards, and, at infinitum. I just continue that over and over and over again. But that's only because I didn't have anything urgent I had to deal with, right? Like I said, I had free time now that I could stop putting out fires. And I was like, well, what am I going to do, right? So this idea came into my head. Well, there's no parody streamers. You could try it. Maybe, maybe you get good at it. Maybe you could be the Shrek. And I was like, could I? Is that really possible? So I took the free time I had and I started making my own model. I could draw, right? Like I could draw, but I didn't know nothing about rigging. So I watched YouTube tutorials on it, on how to rig your model, and it was a whole nightmare. And I was like, okay, maybe I should just get someone to draw this for me or rig it for me or whatever. I'm not sure if I have the time. And I went from artist to artist to artist, finding someone that would be like, okay, could you make like a fat mime virtual streamer, right? And he's got to have like that whole rant I went on about, like for the last 45 minutes about like, the lines and the this and the that. Those were all stuff I had in my mind, but I could never find an artist that would take the job, right? They'd be like, sorry, I can only make cute anime girl. You want cute anime girl? I'm like, no, that's nothing like what I asked for. I want the exact opposite of that, please. So because I couldn't find anybody that would make the model or rig it, I just did it myself, right? So I drew it, and then I realized I drew it wrong, because in order to rig a model, it needs to be drawn or cut a certain way. So I started over from scratch. That's going to happen a lot in my career, having to start over from scratch. That's not going to be the first time. So I redrew the model from scratch, and the second time it was much better. And it was also layered more correctly because I had a reference to model it off. I'm like, okay, the eyes got to be cut this way, the mouth got to be cut this way, head, neck, arms got to be cut this way, fingers don't really matter unless you do finger tracking, yada, yada, yada. And then after learning all I could about Live 2D and rigging, I finally downloaded Live 2D Cubism. Here's the thing about Live 2D Cubism. They give you a 42-day free trial, then you have to pay for it. So I'm like, okay, the timer is on. I have 42 days to finish rigging this before I have to pay for it. So that's what I did. And I spent the next 42 days rigging my model. I think I got it rigged up on like day 33. I still had 9 days left before my free trial expired. By then I'm like, okay, it's ready. Right? This is the model I came out with. And then after putting all that work into it, I'm like, I can't not stream at this point. I spent the last over a month making the model, looking for artists, drawing it. I can't just let it go to waste, right? I can't just let this model sit on my computer desktop and never stream. That was the whole point of this. I'm too deep into this. So that's what I did. But it was hard. It was hard in the beginning, I'll be honest. My first couple streams are technically on YouTube, and they're privated, unlisted streams because they're so embarrassing. My first stream, I had so much trouble, I could only stream for 2 minutes before I'm like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I got to get away from the mic. But I forced myself to keep doing these private unlisted streams as if I was streaming, right? Like I had it all set up. And learning OBS is a whole separate nightmare I could get into. But regardless of that, my first couple streams,
Tell me about it.
oh,
Tell me about
totally,
it.
totally. But
OBS is
right after this,
yeah.
because like, I'll just put a little thumbtack on that one. So I forced myself 3 times a week after work to get in front of the mic, for front of the camera, and stream as if this was a real live stream. And over time, I started streaming for a little bit longer. Then I got to the 2 hour mark. And then I made a couple friends, and they helped push me to the 5 hour mark, 6 hour mark. And eventually, I could just stream like it was natural. Honestly, it felt weird not to stream. I almost felt bad missing a stream because it's like, it's just so incorporated now into my day to day. So that's how I got started streaming. There's some information that's missing, but it's a bit too personal to reveal. So you just have to be satisfied with that, I guess.
Well, good job.
Thank you for the applause. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good job on the art. Good job on the rigging. That is a very crazy good model, if you ask me.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is definitely really cool to me.
Honestly, looking back on it, I couldn't even believe it myself, right? Like, as soon as I learned that, like, my drawing, my first drawing of Joey, which looks way different than this, that, like, I couldn't rig it because it was just drawn incorrectly. I'm like, oh, man, can I just stop? Maybe I could just throw this pipe dream away, use something else with my time, right? But, I stuck with it. I was too deep into it at one point, and I was like, okay, let's just do it. And there were a lot of good surprises. I think, honestly, I was thinking too pessimistically, but, maybe it's good to be a little pessimistic, to be a bit realistic. Because, it came with a lot of good surprises streaming that I never would have thought otherwise, honestly. But yeah, the OBS thing. OBS is a nightmare. It's a nightmare to work. I have never used OBS ever before I started streaming. I didn't even know what it was, but that's what everyone used, right? I also saw people using like Streamlabs OBS. I'm like, what's the difference between Streamlabs OBS and OBS? Do I need both? Do I run both of them? Do I run OBS and Streamlabs on top of that? Is that how that works? No. It's like this whole different thing. So, I looked into it and I'm like, okay, I'm a bit of a computer guy. I'm going to stick with regular old OBS and just, keep it the traditional style, and I'll just learn everything off of that. And that's what I did. So one thing I learned is everyone's OBS is different. I've seen some of my friends' OBS setups, and I see how they, like, that's the thing about OBS. You make it your own. There's no, like, really right way. Like, there's tips and tricks, but there's no really right way to run your OBS. Like, if I was on someone else's computer, like one of my friends' computer, and I tried to manage their stream through their OBS, I'd be completely lost. They have a whole system set up with, like, these paths and these scenes that are sources and sources that are scenes, and it's like this whole other thing. But the way I set up my OBS, I am very familiar with it. And it's almost like, I run this program pretty much every day. When I'm not streaming, I run OBS to test new streaming stuff, right? I recently added this new thing that was really interesting. So are you familiar with the show Columbo?
No.
So Columbo is this very interesting detective crime drama, right? Where the premise is who the killer is right at the beginning, right? They show you who the killer is and how they killed him. But the mystery is how Columbo catches them. It's not really a whodunit, but how you catch them, right? Like, how did Columbo catch him, right? Like, they took all these steps and they got rid of all the evidence. How does Columbo catch him? And Columbo always finds a way to outsmart them, always outthink them, right?
That sounds like some shit that I would love to watch.
You should watch it. The first episode is great. The third episode is one of the best in the whole series. The rest is pretty good too, but the third episode, I think it's called something framed, like fit for framing, something like that. The third episode is chef's kiss, one of the best in the whole show. The rest of it's good. Trust. But that episode with the painter, it was, man, the twist still gets me to this day, but I'm not going to ruin it. It's a great twist. So yeah, I was watching Columbo, and I realized the way I have my stream set up, I have a lot of like old TV style things. Like, okay, for example, if you have my stream up right now, I'm going to do a little transition, right? You see? And I got like this like TV setup where like zooms out to a TV and it zooms back to me, right? And I realized that the best way to do inversion parody, that's going to come up a lot. The best way for me to do inversion parody of streaming starts with this, right? Well, first it starts with the idea and the model, but OBS is a big part of it, is my point here. So, what is the opposite of like a streamer setup? Because a streamer setup, it looks very cutesy, it looks very inviting, it looks very warm. Mine has a bit of this sort of noir, a bit of this old TV. It almost looks kind of uncanny, right? And the reason I went for that
Okay.
old TV vibe is because, well, TV got replaced by what, like, YouTube, Netflix, and then this is now eventually going down the path of live streaming, right? So, if we're going down the road where it becomes more and more futuristic, more and more convenient, the opposite of that would be looking back at what we were, which was, TV, right? Like that's why my channel points are called ratings. Anyway, this long tangent is to bring up the fact that I set up this thing that makes it so. Oh, I didn't even set it up correctly. Oh, how embarrassing. I set up this thing where it will essentially say the name of the stream, chatting with @TheBraggs. And it does that at the beginning of the stream as if it's a TV show. And I got this bot that automatically sets it up. And I did that today. So I'm probably going to have to get that tweaked a little bit because it seems to be on the wrong layer. But other than that, that's why my OBS is like this. That's the theme of my OBS, and that's how I run my OBS.
Okay. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Wholeheartedly, I understand.
Yeah.
Um, my OBS, I have scenes for starting, BRB, gaming, entertainment, interviews, and I have a nested scene for just sounds and for like mix it up and stuff like that. So if I create a new scene for like a new thing, all I have to do is click add for a source I already have on
Right.
OBS. And my nested scene has just bukus of crap in it that I could never layer properly if I were going to do it on the actual stream. I never click on it while I'm in stream.
Actually, funny thing. So a friend of mine actually taught me about nested scenes. I didn't know about them before, and the way he uses them is very, very interesting. He has like all of his sounds in a nested scene, and then he moves them onto a source. I didn't know that you could make a scene a source, right? Until now. Or until they told me. So I think I understand kind of how your OBS works. I'd have to see it to like really believe it, to really understand how it works, but I could totally relate to what you're saying. Like all this OBS talk is like second nature when you become a virtual streamer. You gotta know this. You gotta know this software like the back of your hand. You know.
Oh yeah. If you don't know the software, you better have somebody that's willing to help you learn
You
it.
better have them on hand all the time because OBS is definitely going to have an issue somewhere down the line. It's going to have an issue somewhere down the line.
Oh
You're not
yeah.
going to know what to do.
Or it's going to be something that you don't know how to do and you need to do it for your next little tidbit of a stream or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah.
You just have to. Or it says, "Senpai, please help."
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, OBS, it's a whole, there's a lot of skills and a lot of setup. Personally speaking, I wouldn't recommend virtual streaming for everybody because there's a lot of upfront costs and there's a lot of time investment. Like the computer setup, that's a whole other nightmare, right? Like the computer setup, the internet setup, the software setup side of things, not just OBS. If OBS sounds like a nightmare, there's a lot of other stuff you got to do. Going into virtual streaming specifically, you got to know, how VTube Studio works because that's going to give you an issue down the line eventually too.
Oh yeah. Mine did last time it updated. I apparently had my model in the wrong folder or had the I don't know what it was. The images or something for my model
Mm-hmm.
were in the wrong folder or labeled wrong or something, and V2 Studio didn't even recognize it as a model. It was a whole freaking nightmare,
Oh
and
yeah,
I ended
totally.
up having to go to the Discord for VTube Studios to even talk to somebody to figure out how to fix it, because the guy that created my model, the guy that rigged my model, two different guys,
Mm-hmm.
both no longer have accounts on any social media.
Oh yeah, yep. I
I
guess yeah,
am
that's an issue.
the only model from my creators, um, ever.
That makes you pretty special then.
Yeah. Um, I have art by the creator for my model, but they no longer have a Twitter. They no longer have a Facebook. They no longer have Discord. I have no way of contacting them if anything goes wrong with this model.
Right, right.
But Also, I have no way of contacting the rigger anymore because the rigger no longer does their thing. They've completely stepped away from the online scene.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Well, I guess that's where like if any advice I could give you, look into the documentation. That has been a lifesaver for me. Both of those programs have documentation. So look into Live 2D Cubism documentation. Just Google it, and the official website will take you to the right place. And look into VTube Studio documentation. A lot of programs have documentation, which is not as boring as it sounds. It's basically a little web book made by the developer in order to access all of the features and how they work and how it should best be used. And it's very well indexed. It's very well written. What I did was during work when I had some off time and during lunch, I would just go on my phone, go on my laptop, and just read through the documentation. And there's so much little things people don't know about this program that they don't really use because the developer made it a function, but no one has found a way to use it in a way that's like effective.
Right.
Yeah, so look into the documentation. It's definitely an interesting read when you get the time, of course. Because that's how I learned everything I knew about all of these programs. Let me see here.
Um,
Mhm.
it has been roughly an hour since we started.
Yep.
Uh, I like to do a little segment where I go to my BRB screen, take a break, stand up, stretch, walk around. Um, daily necessities type
Of
deal.
course.
Um, uh, I'll stay in the VC and everything. We can talk or whatever, but I've got to get up and actually stretch because yeah, reasons.
Yeah, keep
Um,
health is priority, of course.
right. So we'll be back in 5 or 6 minutes. Put us right on the hour head mark.
Okay, not bad. I'll just put up my starting soon screen then.
Okay.
See ya. Live. Okay, awesome.
All right.
So,
I've got
yes.
Koofy. I've already drank some water. I have water here as well. But I have some peppermint mocha Koofy.
Very nice. I don't drink too much coffee. I mostly drink water. But I'll have coffee occasionally for the taste.
I drink coffee almost 24/7.
Ah, I see. Like a cup in the morning.
Um, uh, if I don't have it first thing in the morning, I'm not fully functional.
No doubt, no doubt.
Uh, if if I go more than like 2 or 3 days without coffee, just drinking water, flavored water, the way I've been drinking it lately,
Hmm.
I have extreme headaches from caffeine
I
withdrawals.
see, I see,
So I have to have coffee at least 2 or 3 times a day, or caffeine, I should say.
I see, I see. Um, the one thing I know about caffeine withdrawal, it's not particularly relating to the situation, but are you familiar with the DSMV? I think. I think it's the DSMV we're at right now. Let me
No.
see. DSMV. That is the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders 5, Volume 5, right? So I think up to Volume 5, which is the current version. So basically, it is the big book that they use to diagnose people and like look up symptoms and stuff like that. regarding mental health and stuff like that. But my point being is, I think up until the latest one, which is the fifth one, DSM-5, caffeine addiction isn't considered a disorder as of yet. They were debating about putting it in. Going from the fourth one to the fifth one, they were debating on putting it in. They decided not to. So it might show up on the next one, DSM-IV, or wait, let me get my own numerals right.
VI.
There you go, right? It might show up in DSM-VI, but as of DSM-V, it is not. But that's pretty much all I know about caffeine withdrawal and caffeine addiction. That's about it.
Speaking of Roman numerals,
Mm-hmm.
this is just a random fact that I know. Um, and this is just something I want to point out. Did you know that on the USD, or the United States American dollar,
Right?
at the bottom of the pyramid in Roman numerals is actually 1776,
Why 1776?
year the Declaration of Independence was signed?
Oh, okay, okay. Interesting. We used to do Roman numerals back in maybe middle school or elementary school, something like that. But the kids that were in my class weren't really into it, so I was though. I got my Roman numerals straight. Came in pretty cool for some aesthetics, but other than that, that's about my full extent of Roman numeral knowledge and use.
I like Roman numerals for games, and such, so I've been sticking to what I do know. But the highest I know is M, which is 1,000.
Oh, okay, okay.
I can go all the way up to 1,000 or 1999, but honestly, it's easier to just yeah,
Just use like regular numbers at that point.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. After that, it's regular to use
Yeah, like
better to use regular
yeah,
numbers.
like after M, it like stops being cool anymore. Like the V's and the I's and the X's are pretty cool, but like after a certain amount, the Roman numerals become less cool.
It's less cool for me and more of a I don't freaking know it.
Yeah, yeah. The
I know
epsilon.
2,000 would be MM, but at that point, it's just easier to write out 2K.
Mm-hmm. Of course, of course. Like that's pretty much what all the sports games are doing. They go for 2K. No one would really want to get NBA MM.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, so to continue on the topic of research and trying to learn more about you, um, can you tell me what you are hoping your channel evolves into?
So that's an interesting question. So I have been doing a lot of stuff in the last 8 months approximately. And it seems like the way my motivation goes is I'll be working on a big project, like a big 2, 3 month project. And on the side, I'll have a bunch of little projects just to keep me entertained. Because if I work fully on this big project, I'm going to burn out and I'm going to not want to finish it. And then I'll just like let it drag on and on and on. So I got these little projects that keep me kind of entertained in between, right? Um, my last big project was December 13th, and that was the birthday stream. That was a huge deal. I planned for like a month. I planned since, well, a little over a month. I planned since October, right? So my character's birthday is December 13th, the year he was born on December 13th. It's a very significant day, but that also puts him in the 13th zodiac sign, which is I forget how to pronounce it, Orpheus, something like that. Like, if you're familiar with the regular zodiac signs, there's actually a 13th one people don't really include because its constellation is in a short period of time and it just was never really included. But December 13th is right in that zodiac sign.
Okay.
Mm-hmm,
I have no idea about that kind of stuff. I was born January 4th, and I just know I'm a Capricorn.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's all there is to it that I know of. I don't like, you know, basing a bunch of things off of signs. Yeah, I'll get a few things that are like, yeah, that hit the nail on the
Yeah, that was
head.
kind of interesting, right?
When stereotypes are applied to the Capricorns and whatnot,
Right, right.
but um, a lot of the times the stereotypes are just so way off of base. It's just like, yeah, you're just throwing speculation together. That's all that
Yeah,
is.
of course. Again, this is purely for character creation, artistic purposes. Um, but like, yeah. So the birthday stream, that was a big stream I planned for like over a month for, and I was racking my head thinking what I was gonna do, what I was gonna do, and I had a bunch of little ideas, and I just kind of combined them all. So one thing I always wanted to do was to have like a long endurance stream, like a 12-hour stream. I see people do it. I'm like, okay, I got to do that at least once, a 12-hour stream. My second thing was I always wanted to do a roast, right? The thing,
Oh,
right. Like that would have been perfect, a roast. Because the thing about a roast is that it's very much sort of the antithesis of what you normally see virtual streamers do. Because virtual streamers are usually, very welcoming. They usually have very nice words to say. They're fairly not openly toxic to other people straight to their face like that, right? So for me, I thought, well, a roast would be perfect because the point of the roast is to insult the person. Of course, in a sort of lighthearted, kind-hearted way. But, the fact that I can get virtual streamers to roast me means I can make this sort of performance, right? So all back to the performance art. I can make this performance that you might not ever see anywhere else. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
right.
this would be the perfect time to set up a roast on my birthday stream. I know a lot of people. I've collabed with a lot of people at that point. I invited everyone I ever collabed with. And a lot of people came, and it was very nice. And every time I got roasted, I would drink some alcohol, so I got a little drunk at the end. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And we all sung happy birthday, and I took a picture of everybody, took a little screenshot. And yeah, the last hour of the stream was the roast. The first 11 hours were because, like, I wanted to combine this with a 12-hour stream, get them two birds, one stone, right? Two achievements in one. So for the first
Right.
11 hours, I was doing this thing called the Pharaoh's Challenge. It was this challenge I came up with a couple of days before, right? Like early October. I thought, well, are you familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters?
Yes.
Yes. So I was emulating some Yu-Gi-Oh games, and I thought, well, could I beat every single Yu-Gi-Oh game without losing a single duel? Now this, of course, only includes the games that have standard dueling. So no Duelist of the Rose, no Reshef of Destruction, only the Yu-Gi-Oh games that have like normal ass dueling, right? So like, Seven Trials of Glory, Eternal Duelist Soul, Tag Force. And I made a list of every single Yu-Gi-Oh game that has standard dueling format in it, right? So, none of that like alternate dueling stuff or whatever. And it came out to around 32 games. I sat down and I thought, well, if I'm going to have like a magnum opus, if I'm going to have like an achievement in gaming or in streaming, it's going to be this. I'm going to play every single one of those Yu-Gi-Oh games, all 32 of them, and beat every single one back to back to back without losing a single duel. If I lose a duel, got to start over. And that's what I did for the first 11 hours. I got through the first game, right? I think the first game was Eternal Duelist Soul on the Game Boy Advance. I got through the first game, and I got all the way up until the last duelist. And then the 11-hour. Okay, so. Okay, so here's what happened. For the first 6 hours, I was doing pretty good. Then I lost one duel against Arcana. He's the guy who had the fake Dark Magician, right? Who had like that crazy mask back in Battle City. I lost one duel and I was like, ah, god damn it. I spent 6 hours dueling this guy. So I spent the next 5.5 hours getting back to that point, right? Then the 11-hour mark hit, and I'm like, okay, time for the birthday roast stream. We did that for about an hour, and then, I wrapped it up. And then I continued the Pharaoh's Challenge, I think, 2 weeks from there, and I beat that first game and moved on to the second one. So I'm still in the middle of the Pharaoh's Challenge. It's probably going to take me all year to beat it, but that was my big project. And sprinkled throughout, I had a bunch of little projects like I made a VTuber Monopoly where like all of the chance cards and all the properties are all like references to stuff. That was like my little project I did. So for the last 8 months, I've just been going from big project and little projects sprinkled throughout, and I've just been doing that for a while.
Okay.
Hmm.
That sounds like that would be one heck of a nightmare, to be honest with you. That's like trying to beat all of all of the Soul Calibur games in a row without ever losing a fight.
Honest, now I haven't played Soul Calibur, but I'll take your word for it because oh boy, because there's so much BS you have to deal with in these old Yu-Gi-Oh games. Because okay, you're familiar obviously with Exodia, right?
Yeah.
Every game has an Exodia duelist in it, and I have to beat them to move on. That means if one of them gets a lucky Exodia, it's over. I got to start all over. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how deep I'm into it. Doesn't matter how many hours. I just got to start all over because someone got a lucky Exodia, and that just happens. That's just something I got to deal with. So far, I only lost one duel, and it was at the very beginning. So not too bad. I'm going to continue on with the Pharaoh's Challenge. Hopefully next week, I'm going to be moving on to the second game, and then the third game, and then we'll see how far we get.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's actually pretty cool. That gives me a perspective of what kind of content to expect in the near future.
Oh yeah, totally.
Um, as far as long-term content, you had said um, you didn't want to plans because if you got yourself a huge project, you would wear yourself out. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, like no, well, if I only work on that project, if I don't have like other stuff to keep me preoccupied, I'm gonna I'm gonna work on as much as I can, but I'm gonna get bored of it eventually. So I have a lot of little projects I've sprinkled in the middle of the big project, right? Like the VTuber Monopoly thing, that was just a little project that I had working on. Um, Let me see. Before the birthday stream, my other big project, like before that, because that was in December, but before the December big birthday stream, I was. Let me take a look at my timeline. Before that, I actually did a cover song of the Canary song "King," right? Appropriately named King, of course, right? Joey D. King. Because, everyone does that. But I managed to get a very interesting mixer on YouTube by the name of, well, they're, musicians, but I got them to mix and master the song for me and like remix it. The name of Exit Enter. Their music's pretty good. After they mix it and stuff like that, I drew the photo of it. Let me see. I actually have a picture of it somewhere here. This time I was a bit more prepared. I got it right on my desktop. It is right here. Okay, let's bring that up. Turn that one off. Okay, so yeah, this is my drawing for my cover of King. Get the model off for a sec. Yeah, and this took me. Oh man, this probably took me like a month to draw. Honestly, um, this has me in it. It has my Oshi in it. You see this little Muppet in the front? That's a third character. Haven't even talked about her name is Sad and Tired for satire, Sad and Tired. Um, the
Gotcha.
chair I'm saying, so normally in King they're sitting on a throne. My throne is actually an electric chair, and the crown is that little like hat they put you in when they put you in the electric chair. Yeah. Um, and yeah, I thought it was really nice. I think the cover came out really good. It was very unique. Like it sounds a lot different than a normal cover, but I think I think what I like the most about it was well, okay, like me, I didn't do the music, but I think what I like most about it was learning to sing because I am not a singer, right? I have never sung before, right? So learning to
Right.
sing was definitely something I'm like, okay, this is something I can get better at, and I know somebody, my friend who knows a lot about music and mixing and stuff like that, and he helped me a lot with singing. Like he'd listen to my singing, he'd listen to the mix, he'd tell me what's wrong with it and all that. So that was my favorite part, learning to sing. Because before that, no tone deaf right here.
Okay. I'm I'm kind of really bad at singing,
Oh, same,
but I
same.
like singing. I like singing in the shower and
Yeah,
stuff.
singing in the shower is good
Um,
because you got really good acoustics in there. There, you sound best. It's true. It's true.
something like that. I still can't carry a tune in a bucket, but uh, the few things that I am actually comfortable singing are like lullabies and whatnot. I don't like the upbeat stuff so much as far as singing to people,
Okay, so like
but
duets, you mean?
No, I mean like singing at the person.
Okay, okay.
It's the saying too. Sorry. Um, but as far as like if no one else is around and I'm just singing to have fun, I'll sing whatever the heck I got going on, whatever song is playing. I really get into music and stuff like that, but I don't normally I don't normally do singing. I've never done a cover. That is one of my goals actually, is to do a cover.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. What's your what's your favorite genre of music?
Early 2000s, late 90s,
Okay, okay.
uh rock, alternative rock.
Hmm. Any bands in particular?
Oh, that's a list. My Chemical
I love them. Yep.
Romance,
Fallout Boys.
Fallout
Yeah,
Boy.
Fallout Boy. Yep,
Yep.
yep, yep. There you go.
You can't go wrong with Fallout Boy. I mean, hell, even Disney put him in a fucking movie.
Hmm.
Um, Metallica.
Right, right.
I like I like the older like regular rock. Like, so I can go to Metallica, ZZ Top, Genesis, Bush. Um, some of the just back just in time for Metallica.
Hey,
Okay.
Milo, how you doing? Back in time.
Um, yeah, I've got your chat pulled up too. So, uh, let's see. I've got. Oh shit. Let me just pull up my Spotify playlist because this is ridiculous. I'm blanking.
No worries, no worries.
I will not be able to play anything on stream. So, let's see. I like Volbeat, Bullet for My Valentine, Good Charlotte, 303. One of my favorite bands is Blink 182.
Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. Yep. Blink 182.
Uh,
That's a good one. I also listen to Sum 41, Linkin Park.
All American Rejects. I was in that phase in high school.
Hmm.
Uh, Call it a phase. It's still my aesthetic to this day.
Okay, I see.
Um, 30 Seconds to Mars, Linkin Park, Jimmy Eat World, Godsmack, Disturbed. There are very few bands that I listen to that are not rock. The few that I listen to that are not rock are upbeat. Uh, they tend to have like an 80s-ish theme to them.
Right.
Um, Led Zeppelin. I I really don't like the Rolling Stones, to be honest with
I
you.
like some of
I've
their
never had
songs.
any of their music that really, it wasn't relatable to me when I was growing up, so I never really paid attention to them.
Not even Sympathy for the Devil. I love that one. Doo hoo hoo. Pleased to meet you.
No, not really.
Okay,
It wasn't one
understandable.
of my
Understandable.
favorite ones. It wasn't one I liked listening to. And as far as like country music goes, and I'm only saying this for the actual fact that I dislike most country music.
Hmm.
I say most, by I mean the newer crap
Right.
that they come out with. They're calling country. It's basically show tunes.
I see. I see.
Uh, the older stuff that actually told a story in the song, a little bit different, you know.
Right. Right.
Um, and everyone makes fun of it because dude got his dog died, got cheated on, his old lady left, blah blah
Something
blah.
about a
Yeah,
tractor.
that's
Yep.
it's so much better though than, oh, I just clocked out at 5 o'clock, now it's time to go get drunk. And that's the whole song.
I see. I see. Me, I've recently gotten really big into electro swing. I really like the sound of it. I like the beat. I think it's very, very nice.
Recently, I've been getting into is it funk? Funk?
Funk. Is that like
I don't know how to
house?
pronounce it. Um, I don't know what house
Oh,
is.
I know funk. This is the one they use for all of those like death battle edits when they're like, oh, speed, low diff, AP, low diff, something, something, low diff. It's always low diff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know this music. This looks familiar. I see a lot of funk edits.
Yes, there's a lot of funk edits. Um, but I've been getting into it recently because it's literally just grind music. If you're playing a game that is in order to get to the end game or to whatever goal you're doing, you have to do a lot of grinding or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's good music to have on in the background to just focus on what you're doing.
Oh, okay, I see, I see. Maybe I should listen to it more actively because for me, funk just kind of comes whenever I watch a YouTube short or something.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, any other questions? Any other things you want to know?
Okay. Here's one that will reveal to your viewers, my viewers, just how human you actually are.
Sure. Yep.
Uh, Give me your celebrity hall pass.
What do you mean celebrity hall pass? I've never heard that term before. I know hall pass, but what do you mean
Uh,
celebrity hall pass?
okay, so a celebrity that you would like to sleep
Jake
with.
Gyllenhaal.
Who?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Instant.
Who's that?
He's the actor, Jake Gyllenhaal, right? He was in Jarhead. He was in Nightcrawler. He was in what else was he in? Hold on. Let me just bring it up. You don't know Jake Gyllenhaal? Hold on.
Not off the top of my head, I don't, but I can Google real quick.
Jake Gyllenhaal. What was he in? Should be in every movie.
It should be in every
He should
movie.
be in every movie.
Oh, okay, okay. I know who this is now. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah.
yep, yep. This is the guy. This is the guy.
Okay,
He was in Donnie
understood.
Darko. Yeah, yeah. Donnie Darko. That was like one of his early movies. Uh,
Everybody
Broke
always gets mad at me.
Brokeback
I've
Mountain.
got two.
Okay.
I've got two, but my first one has been a childhood crush since like I first heard them sing
Okay.
ever. Uh, Amy Lee, the lead singer for
Oh,
Evanescence,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and Johnny Depp.
yeah. Okay, okay. I can understand that. That makes sense. I don't know. He just has
Did
really good range. I think Jake Gyllenhaal has really good range in his acting.
okay, okay. I understand where you're coming from on that. He has played a lot of different types.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Same can also be said about Johnny Depp,
Right. I'll agree
but
with you on that.
here's one that we always forget, especially when it comes to like awards and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Ah, Leonardo DiCaprio. What a name.
Yeah. Uh Played as early as like I know he played in a couple movies before Titanic, but his biggest thing was
It was
Titanic.
Titanic, yeah. They should have
Um
saved him. They should have saved him.
No, Jack, no. Um yeah, that it's always eluded me on how he has never made it to the Emmys for any of
Yeah.
his stuff. He's he's so memorable in so many different movies,
He is. He
but
is.
he couldn't get a single. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna shut up now because that's just my opinion. He should have had one by now at least.
I know, right? It's just, oh man, greatest robbery in history. Let me see.
I mean, hell, have you ever seen The Aviator?
Which one was that again?
It's where I
Let me look it
think
up.
he played the role of um
Oh yeah, yeah. I
he
saw
was
this
a
one.
plane designer guy,
Yeah, yeah.
and he actually showed what it was like for him when he started having his OCD stuff
Right,
going
right.
on, where it actually took over his entire life and it became a full blown. It's not just you got to keep my hands clean now. It's you are not allowed to touch my pee bottles.
Hmm.
Like that's how bad it got.
Right, right.
It was really weird.
I mean,
But I mean that just shows his range of acting. He can go from the horny kid on the Titanic to world's greatest inventor slash designer to showing both the goods and the bads of everything.
Right, right. Let me see. I got a couple would you rather's that I like to bring up with a couple of buddies of mine because they always have some interesting responses. If you don't mind.
I don't mind at all, but
Awesome.
you'll have to show it on your
I
screen.
could just say because these are just like verbal would you rather's, right?
Okay.
So okay, would you rather be in a gunfight with a sword, or would you rather be in a sword fight with a pen?
Gunfight with a sword.
Gunfight with a sword. Okay, okay. What's your reasoning?
There's a lot of that, to be honest with you. Duck and cover.
Okay, right.
You can always wait for an opportunity to attack.
Okay,
And two, if they're distracted enough that you can basically be patient, you never have to run out of ammo.
okay, right, right,
At the same point, if you were in a sword fight, they're extremely focused on you,
right. And like sword wounds are
and all
very
you have is a
grievous.
pin. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I get shot, I get shot.
Right,
It, there are tales of people living through getting shot, but there's also tales of people, instant down. There's no help to it, whatever, right?
right. But like a sword though, like losing an arm, getting impaled by that thing, that's like way bigger than like a sword than like a gun, a bullet wound.
Depending on the bullet too, because you
True.
you could.
Right, right.
It
That's right.
really
That's right.
depends
I didn't name the
on
sword and
both
I didn't name the
sides.
gun. And I didn't name the pen either. Okay, so katana, Glock. No, 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 no. Not Glock. No, no, yeah, yeah, Glock. Katana, Glock, and ballpoint pen.
I've seen people killed with all three.
Right, but that is what we're dealing with. No AK-47s, nothing like that. Just, a Glock. I think it's 9 millimeter. We'll go with that.
However minute the chance, I would still say sword in a gunfight.
Okay, okay. I could see that. For me personally, I think I would rather go pen in a sword fight. And my reasoning, even though I gave some reasons as to the opposite, my reasoning for pen in a sword fight is because I would rather run away from a sword guy than a gun guy because I can't outrun the bullet, right? Like sword guy comes at me, right? Assuming we're both like equal amount fitness, he has to carry the sword. I just got to carry the pen. I don't even need to carry the pen. I could drop the pen, right? Drop the pen and run away. If he chases me with the sword's going to weigh him down. So that means I get like more distance, more stamina. But if I'm going like sword in a gunfight and I run away, I can't outrun the bullets, right? Maybe he misses, maybe he's not a good shot, but like, I can't outrun the bullets, right? There's like always a chance I get shot. But like with the sword guy, I can like run away from the sword guy and he can't hit me unless he carries and chases me with that sword. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I throw the pen at him or I ditch the pen, I'm out of there, bucko. No more.
Right. You also have to look at it this viewpoint, and I'm only saying this because this has been talked to me before.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody enters your house. Somebody breaks into your house.
Right,
They either have a gun or a knife.
right,
If they have a gun, they want to deal with you.
right, right.
They really don't want to deal with you. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They either want to just hurt you and leave,
Mm-hmm.
or get your stuff and leave without firing
Right.
it. However, the knife, they're in there, they're ready to defend themselves slash attack you with the
It's
knife.
personal with the knife.
They want you to hurt. They don't care if you die or not. They want you to hurt.
It can't.
If
Yeah.
they want you to hurt, it would make me angry. I would rather someone break in with a gun than a knife.
Right. Right.
I would rather fight somebody with a gun than someone with a knife. Simply for the fact that either it's A, over, quick, done with,
Mm-hmm.
or two, if I'm able to actually attack them and get close to them because all they have is a knife or a blade or whatever, I I would end up hurting them worse than what they think they could. I'm a big guy.
Right. Right.
I'm 6 foot tall, broad shoulders, kind of husky, heavy set. I can hurt somebody
Mm-hmm.
if all they're trying to do is stab.
Right. Right. So that kind of reminded me of so you've obviously seen The Dark Knight. That kind of reminded me of Heath Ledger Joker's um the little speech he gave about the knife. He's like, you see, guns are too quick. You see, with a knife, you get to savor all the little emotions. That's my Heath Ledger impression. But yeah, like a knife seems a lot more personal. When they're coming at you with some sort of bladed weapon, it definitely has a bit of romanticism to it.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Let's see. I gotta.
Uh,
Yeah. You,
here's the would you rather for
yeah.
you.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is pure psychological, okay?
Okay.
Would you rather slide down a 50-foot razor blade?
Like down the blade of it, or down the.
I am not describing yet.
Okay.
Or jump into a den full of lions.
A den full of lions. How many lions?
Let's say 7.
7 lions, and it could fit all the lions. They all have space. It's not just a lion stacked on top of a lion stacked on top of a lion.
Right.
Okay, so a big den and a 50-foot razor blade. You said.
Yeah.
Can I pick which side? Because I could just probably run down. I could probably like run down the non-sharp side.
I would rather just slide on the side of it, to be honest with you, but still.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even touching the sharp side.
Then again, who's to say that the lions are alive? Who's to say that the lions aren't stuffed?
That's true. That's true. Stuff long. I mean, if I
It's all a psychological thing. Just you know,
honestly, I'd probably go with the razor blade if I get the choice of the sharp or the blunt side. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. I got a second one, and this one's a bit weirder. Okay. Um, would you rather every time you're in pain, a random Weezer song plays, or every time you see someone else in pain, the entire B movie plays? The Weezer stacks, B movie does not stack.
honestly, the first one, I I don't have a problem with Weezer.
Okay, right, of course.
Also, free music every time I'm in pain.
Right,
I,
of
I
course, of
might
course.
hit myself just so I can hear music every once in a
I
while.
get that. I get that. Um, now here's the thing. One of my siblings brought up in case of now this happens as people get older. The case of chronic pain, right? Like chronic back pain, very common in streamers. Chronic joint pain, some sort of chronic pain. And keep in mind, Weezer stacks. So in chronic pain, the Weezer songs are going to stack on top of each other as long as you're still in chronic pain. But for the B movie, yes, it's a lot longer and it's just the same B movie over and over again. But you really just have to like avoid hospitals and stuff like that. If you get hospitalized and you're constantly seeing people in pain, it's just B movie and over again. So for this one, I think I'm split down the middle. I'm not really sure either or. I can't really make a strong case either or.
Being in home health the way I am, I would constantly have the B movie on 24/7, whether or not I actually wanted it.
Constant B movie. Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah, so also I've never seen the B movie. I've only seen clips of it.
Ah, okay.
So having it forced on me every time I seen somebody else in pain or heard somebody else scream out in pain, I definitely nope, big nope.
Okay.
I yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I have to I have a live-in resident with me that I take care of.
Right.
So, and he's always in pain. He's disabled.
Mhm.
So, there's the whole aspect of that to me personally. I would rather not have the B movie.
Right. Yes, that's.
I also have Crohn's, so I do have chronic pain.
Ah, okay.
It's not as present all the time, but it is prevalent.
I see. So you're in a very interesting case then in this specific would you rather.
Yeah. It that's just my opinion for my current live-in situation.
I see. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting retrospect into somebody's mind. These little random would you rather's.
Do you keep having nosebleeds for hotkey or
Well, where I'm at, it's relatively hot. Relatively, I say. Right now, it's like 40-ish, which is a little cold for me. So, but I don't think I have no. Oh, wait. Are you talking about my model?
Yeah, your
Oh,
model
yeah, yeah,
keeps
yeah.
bleeding every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah. So funny thing. When I was looking into VTube Studio, I saw they had an extra parameter for the cheek, and normally what they do is when their cheeks puff, it's supposed to make them blush. But for me, I'm like, no, that doesn't fit. So for me, it causes the nosebleeds, but sometimes it just happens, right? Like I can't get it to work when I want it to, but yeah, it does that
I saw it.
sometimes.
It was a split second, but I
For like
saw it.
oh yeah, okay, for like a split second, right? Yeah.
Right. I have a few things that mine does. Mine doesn't nosebleed, but I have several hotkeys set up to where I can do hand
I see, I
motions. I
see.
have the angry, I'm sick, blush. I've got appendages, hearts. What the fuck did chat just say? That kind of thing.
Ah, okay, I see. Let me see. I have some costumes that I really only ever use this for like a short model. Like let me see. Sure. Let me see if this model loads up correctly. This is a model of one of my friends. For Halloween, we all dressed up as each other, and I dressed up as her. This is me dressed up as her. I only used this on the one day, so this is like the second time I've ever used it. Let's see.
It's not showing up on
Oh, it's not. Hold on.
the thing, but I do see it on your stream.
How about
That's really cool. That
how
is
about
a
this one? Oh, what happened? Hold on. That noise only plays when I get raided. Oh, thank you for the raid, Foul. Thank you for the raid, Fall Garth. What were you playing before this? We're just doing a bit of an interview style right here. How you doing? We're chatting with the Briggs. Um, can you see this model right now? I'm doing the black and white model.
I do see that, and that is
This
fantastic.
one was actually really easy to do. So I use Clip Studio Paint for my models, right? And for this one, there is this function called, I think it's tone, right, where it changes everything to manga panel tone, so like dots and stuff. Let me see if I can zoom in. You can see the dots. You see that? There's a bunch
Yeah,
of dots here, and that was super easy to do, right? So I would recommend anyone that's on Clip Studio Paint, you can make your model look like this. I kept the tie to be red because I thought, it's kind of artistic looking. Let's see here.
it's more of a Sin City thing,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
in my opinion.
I saw that. I saw
I
Sin
love
City.
that.
I like it.
I
Hello,
seen bits and
Falgarth.
pieces of it, and I love the whole aspect that red stayed red. Everything else was black and white.
Yes, for me, that because one thing about my character is a mime, right? And since I talk as a mime, it's very sort of like opposite. Like mimes don't talk, but I'm a mime. Um, Let me see. Started with Deepest Sword, fun puzzle platform, very short. So now it's just a Stardew Valley. Oh, okay, nice. I said, I have not played any of those games, but I do have Stardew Valley. I have been
I
meaning to
have
play that one.
Stardew as well. I've played it like 2 seasons, and I haven't been able to play with anybody else or collab with anybody else for it. I collabed with my mod Aura,
Hmm.
uh, and we played for 2 seasons. I finally learned how to fish in the game,
Nice, nice.
and we started making money. We were about to get things together, and that was as far as we got. It was about 3.5 hours into stream, and I had to call it.
I see. Yeah, I know one of my friends is collabing with, but I have never played, so I don't know anything about it. But I do own it. I do own it, which was eventually I'll eventually get. It. But make sure you get your after stream care, get your water, get your stretches in. I know it's a little late, at least on my end. Right now I'm just showcasing some models, some of the costumes. This one was one of probably my first costumes. We'll have to wait for it to load up. Stardew Valley's just chill. That's what I've heard. It looks chill. Okay, let me know when
It
this
is.
when this
It
one
is
shows up.
very chill.
Okay, it should be loaded up, but I know it might take a little sec.
It's also not loading up on the multiplayer, but I see it on your stream.
Okay, so this was the first costume I ever made. This was for
Oh, there it
oh
is.
nice. Okay, I see. It just takes a little second. Loaded quickly. Nice, nice. Goodness, good. Thank goodness. This is my anti-ghost armor from SpongeBob. If you've ever seen that episode where they get the invisible spray and then they haunt Mr. Krabs. Yes.
Awesome. No, I have not seen that episode, but that is fantastic. I love that so
Yes,
much.
this is a like I studied that costume. So like right here at the bottom, if it shows up on stream, those are my let me see what Mr. Krabs called it. He called it he has his pants and Melvin on, he got the gold, he got the Shivering Timbers brace. Yes, my Shivering Timbers are braced. Got my anti-ghost armor. Let's see, I got my a little bit of gold, right, around the neck. I got my spotted neckerchief. You can't see it, but the back of my neck, the hairs on the back of my neck are taped down. That was very important. So this was specifically for when me and a bunch of friends were going to play Phasmo, and I thought, you know what'd be nice? A SpongeBob reference. So this is my anti-ghost armor. I got a little bit of physics going on. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else I got here.
I might actually make it to where I can ride the Alaskan bullhorn
Oh
at some
yes,
point.
that one. Oh, that would be a cool pet, just like the giant Alaskan bull thingy, right?
Is it a worm or is it a horn? I can't remember what they called it.
Worm. That's what it was. That's what tripped me up. The Alaskan bullworm. There we go. This next one, as soon as it
Star
loads up.
reference.
Yes, this is Jigsaw. This was for all of October. I had this costume on. I was like, what would be the perfect costume for October, the perfect spooky costume? I had so many ideas, but ultimately it came down to Jigsaw, and that's mainly because I get to wear a suit, but also I get to have the cool spirals. Kind of fits with the makeup. Made my irises red for this one. You want to play a little game? Um,
I like that you kept the straight line
ah,
stripes.
yes, yes, for the little bow tie. Yes, you're right. Yeah, the little bow tie has the crosses on it. So it's made of the same material as my tie, but it's in bow tie format. Just to keep with the motif of Joey going on. And
Right.
I got so many. I just had total fun with it. I got so many costumes. This one here I only wore once on Christmas for a Lethal Company collab. This is the second time this ever showed up. I made the beard and everything, and the hat. I made it as soon as it shows up.
Hey, yeah, I do remember that. I seen that.
Yep, this was one time for my Lethal Company collab, and it was pretty nice. I like the beard. I like the hat. I'm going for the kind of mall Santa vibe. I got the little circular glasses for that. So yeah, this is only the second time I've used this. I'm probably gonna use it again next year, but yeah.
I love the I actually love the patchwork Santa hat.
Oh yeah, the little patch to show is like a bit of wear and tear. I like that one.
If I do a Halloween or Christmas costume with my actual tuber this next year, I'm going to see about Jack Skellington
Oh, that's a good one.
face,
Yes.
and then putting the white stripes on my research coat.
Mm-mm.
That way, it's similar, and all I have to really do is change the colors.
So, like, speaking of Nightmare Before Christmas, I was gonna do a karaoke stream on Christmas, but that kind of fell through. We were gonna do like, the 12 days of Christmas, right? On the 12th day of Christmas, yada yada yada, right?
Yep.
So, what we were gonna do is we were going to have like everyone come up with a different day, and it was going to be about streaming. It was going to be about virtual streamers. So it would be like, on the 12th day of Xmas, my Oshi gave to me 12 days hiatus, da, 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 right? And we would just rewrite all the lyrics like that, right? Let me see if I have, because we worked on a little bit of it, right? We did like some of the lyrics, but it just kind of fell through. It's just bad timing, right? Let me see if I have some of the lyrics we wrote already, because some of them were pretty fun.
One technical
One,
difficulty.
technical difficulty. Two
uh,
boing boings. Four
did you
tier three
actually
subs.
know?
12 friends collab and da 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 da.
Did you actually know that the original song, every single one of the things that he gave, are all birds?
It's just all different kinds of birds, like storks and oh
Yes.
my god,
Yes.
penguins.
Even the five golden rings. You would think that the five golden rings were actually rings. No, the five golden rings were a type of bird.
Ah, how
Everything in there is
what
birds,
a
and I love
what
that.
a clever guy. What a clever dastardly devil that was. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's really good. Um,
I this time and when I finally found that out, I was just like, "That's fucking amazing." I'm 30 years old, find that out, and just boom,
Yeah, like I just
my
found that
mind
out.
was blown.
Like as
I was like, I used to sing that, and I didn't know what the fuck I was singing about. So honestly, I started doing research on certain songs to figure out like if I can sing them in public, because if they're too fucking risque,
right, right,
I don't want to sing them and be put into the shoes of someone that I don't want to be in.
right. Of
Like
course.
for instance, the "I'm Coming Out" song.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Really don't want to sing that on stream.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Um, a straight male, but I have my own. I'll put it this way: I'm comfortable enough with my sexuality to say, hey, there's a person that I find extremely attractive, i.e., Johnny Depp,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Sam, shit, Sam Elliott.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, there's several people that I find attractive, even though I'm straight, right?
Of course.
And I'm attracted for certain reasons, but I'm more attracted to the activity of it, versus the let's be physical with everything.
Right, right.
Like, if I got a date with Johnny Depp or a date with Sam Elliott, I would literally just be like, let's talk,
That I mean,
let's hang out,
yeah.
let's
Get to
play
know
video
them.
games together, let's do something.
Of course, of course.
Like, I I would love to take and cook a full blown steak and taters and everything and just have like a dinner date with Sam Elliott.
I would love to just sort of like
I
geek out about stuff like horror movies. You
Oh
like
yeah.
horror movies? Do you like
Oh yeah.
video games? That kind of thing?
Yeah, I completely understand that wholeheartedly. Like that is my niche.
That is my jam. That is what I would remember. You know, the thing they say,
Right?
you don't like no one remembers what you said, they just remember how you made them feel.
Right.
Exactly, exactly. Like I'm sure, if I was ever, sitting down with Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm sure there'd be a lot of ums and haws and likes, but no one remembers that. No, people just remember how you make them feel. Let me see.
Give me a tour of your most prized private space. Like, take me to your theater, take me to your game hall, take me to your man
I
cave.
gotta see it.
Let's hang out and have fucking fun.
Yeah, that.
That's all I cared
Yeah,
about.
that's how you know you're in when you get to see the stuff they make, right? Like
Oh
their
yeah.
rooms and stuff. It's like, oh, there's a little journal I kept. Like, oh shit, I get to read the journal.
Just just like as like a full on reference, if Gibbs brought you to the basement and let you help sand his boat or whatever, that's when you know you've made it into Gibbs' line of work.
Yeah.
Uh, just I'm not sure if you understand that reference. Do you watch NCIS?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Gibbs is a very tough customer to please. I'll put it that way.
Okay, okay.
More of a stoic type.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. I consider myself a bit of a stoic. Meditations and all that stuff. Very nice. Marcus Aurelius. Let me see. So I got one last costume that I use from time to time, and it's not really it's not really like a seasonal thing. So you remember I talked about a character called Sad and Tired, whose name is just satire, but it's a pun.
Right.
Let me see. I made
Looks like a Muppet version of
a
Chucky.
Muppet, yes. So I actually have a model with. I actually have two models. So this is one model with Sad and Tired, and I hold her up and she moves and stuff, right? If you notice, she like isn't moving her mouth, she doesn't talk. But what I do have is I have a second model where she does talk, and I just switch between the two, so it looks like I'm talking, and then it looks like she's talking.
Oh,
Let's see if
okay.
I get it to load real quick. It loads a little slower in this one, but in this one, her mouth moves and mine doesn't. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much all the costumes I've made since then, since I started.
Okay. I got you. I understand.
Hmm.
Um, can I, since you're the one rigging this and everything, can I make a suggestion?
Sure, let me hear it. I'm always down for new ideas. Some of my best friends give me some of the
Okay.
best ideas.
So you've got the ventriloquist one, right?
Right? Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. maybe a oh her her skirt isn't showing up on because of the chroma key on
Oh,
my
because the chroma key it like
screen.
goes through, right? Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
her skirt's green. Yep, that's what it is. Is it
Yeah.
coming through mine correctly? Oh, mine is coming through correctly, but
Yeah.
because the green screen. I see, I see.
Yeah. 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 Um, but having a hotkey set up to where you could actually like move the arm where she like pats her chest or waves or something like that.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's a small thing, but it would take your other hand out of your pocket to literally just move her arm on a stick. Like
Like a little animation.
yeah, you know Jeff Dunham, how he
Oh,
does
of
that
course I
crap
do. Yeah,
with Peanut.
yeah.
He's
Peanut.
always moving his arm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know what you mean.
it's just a option that you could do with your ventriloquist thing. I didn't think about that until I saw the little child.
I see, I see. Yeah, that could definitely be a thing. But the thing about SAT, or okay, I call her SAT for short, for sad and tired. The thing about SAT's personality is she's extremely vulgar. She like swears like all the time, right? I'm
Okay.
not doing the voice right now because it takes a bit of setup. I'm not really set up for SAT to function correctly now, but I could probably think of some stuff. I'm not sure if you could do the middle finger with a little Muppet hand because it's just three fused fingers into a little stump, you know?
Really, you could just hold up the paw or hold up the whole mitt and be like, "Yeah, read between the lines."
Yeah, yeah. I definitely gotta think of something unique because her thing is all about the vulgarity of it. Her thing is all about the whole because she's very cynical, she's very mean, but she's a little tsundere. She's a little tsundere too.
Okay, gotcha,
Yeah,
understood.
yeah, yeah. So
Well, Joey, it's been roughly 2 hours since we
yeah,
started.
it's been about 2 hours.
Do you want to continue?
Let me see. We could go on for a little bit, but it'd just be more stuff about me if that's all right.
That's fine by me. Um, I just wanted to double check with you because we were hitting the 2 hour mark, and I have no idea if I even told you how long I normally do
How
these.
long do you normally go?
Roughly an hour and a half to two.
Oh, okay, okay. So we're nearing the long stretch of it. I mean, like that's fine.
Yeah.
I could probably quickly run down through some other stuff I didn't get to mention before real quick. Let's
Okay,
see here.
let's hear it.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just decrease the size of the models real quick. Okay, so right here is probably the thing I'm most proud about. So one thing I love to do is I love taking pictures and I like taking screenshots. It doesn't happen often. It happens very rarely. There aren't a lot of pictures, but I like to take pictures of very memorable moments that happen during streaming, right? So I took a picture of my debut, and there's a little story here too, right? This picture of my Oshi. The story first picture I ever took during my debut. My debut had only 2 viewers in it, and I ended up becoming friends with those 2 viewers. This is my first collab, I think, with and Phasmophobia. There, I got the costume over there on the right. Um, this was another collab I did. This one was pretty fun. Let's see. This was when I finally made affiliate on Twitch. Actually, funny story about this. I love my funny story. So, I took a picture of my email and the post on Twitter of when I posted when I made affiliate. But funny thing, literally a week after I made affiliate, Twitch did that thing that people didn't like where like you can't put an ad that's above a certain percentage of the stream on your stream or something like that, right?
Ah,
Yeah, and they
okay.
yeah, and they also took away multi-streaming for everybody. Even if you're not affiliate, you weren't allowed to multi-stream on Twitch. So literally a week after I made affiliate, I'm like, okay, I can't stream on Twitch anymore, and I started streaming on YouTube, which is what this next picture. We're streaming on YouTube now. So after, because before this, I only streamed on Twitch, only on Twitch. But after this, I'm like, maybe I should like multi-stream in case anything like this happens on Twitch again, right? So literally a week after, this was what day was this posted? Let me see. This was on June 5th. So literally like June 13th, Twitch made that announcement. I'm like, okay, let me try streaming on other platforms. And then right after that, I started streaming on YouTube. We stream it on YouTube now. But I'm glad they did that because if it wasn't for that, I never would have tried multi-streaming. I would have just been just on Twitch, which is fine. But if anything happens to Twitch, right, like I'm gonna need like a backup, right, like a YouTube or Kick or what have you. So this really kicked my butt and got me into streaming on other platforms simultaneously, right?
Right.
Uh, this was through my Elden Ring campaign. Me and two buddies, we beat up Margit. That took us a little while. This was the start of my Cuphead stream with a friend. This was the first time I collabed with another friend of mine. We played some tabletop simulator, and all these come with like a little bit of story. I'm highlighting right here like a little bit of backtrack. This picture, funny thing. Well, not really funny, but what happened was literally right after this. Our save file got corrupted. Like calamity hit our save file, and we weren't able to come back to this campaign anymore. But literally right before that, I had the urge to take a picture. We just beat Renala. If you're familiar with Elden Ring, we just beat Renala, and I'm like, you know what? Let me take a picture. I don't usually take a picture for like a mid boss. I usually take a picture for like the first boss and the last boss. But I'm like, you know what? Let's take one last picture. And this actually was the last picture, literally the very last frame, last picture of our stream before the calamity hit our save file for the following weekend. We weren't able to play Elden Ring anymore. So this picture, a bit of a melancholic picture, but definitely meaningful. This is when we finally beat Cuphead. So, 2 pictures ago was the start of Cuphead. This is the end of Cuphead. We beat the devil. This was posted on November 28th. This was my cover of King. I took a picture of everyone who commented because that was a big, big project. This is the start of our Death Road to Canada, which became a big thing. We ended up playing a lot of Death Road to Canada. This was my Halloween stream with the Jigsaw outfit. That's the first Halloween stream we did, so took a picture to commemorate that. This was my return to Twitch because by June 20, well, like by this time, Twitch had reversed their policy on multi-streaming, and I'm like, you know what? I'm coming back to Twitch, and now I've been streaming on Twitch since then as well. So commemorative moment. This is spoilers. This is beating Death Road to Canada for the first time. We finally made it to Canada. This was the cosplay Halloween thing I told you about. You see me over there on the right, dressed up with the little purple in the eyeball. We all decided to dress up as each other. Pretty fun. This was the birthday stream I mentioned, where I got roasted by all my friends. Pretty fun. Got a couple drinks. Glug, glug, glug. Our latest picture is the start of our Baldur's Gate stream. I'm going to take one more picture at the end of our Baldur's Gate stream just to see how we ended up. But this is the characters we have now. We got a barbarian. That's me. I'm playing as Shrek, but human form. Got a rogue. We got a paladin. We got a druid. And as more memorable stuff comes along, I'm going to take more pictures and update this some more. But that's pretty much where I was from the beginning of my streaming career to now.
Okay. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Um,
This is basically my virtual man cave right now. All of this stuff. I just have all these pictures hung up.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love it.
I think I think my very first stream, I should have taken a picture, a screenshot, or something of it to save it onto my Discord. I don't even remember exactly what day it was, but I think it was my very first successful stream where I had double viewers.
Nice, nice,
It was very nice for me. Um, but I think it was also the very first time where I had double digit subs.
nice, nice. Yeah, that's definitely a memorable moment. That's definitely something you want to keep forever.
Now I am the dungeon master for that exact same streamer that I collabed with for the interview.
Oh, okay.
Um, we play D&D every Saturday night.
Nice, nice. How many Saturdays has it been? Approximately, like you'd say.
Since we started the D&D campaign, or since that interview, because the
Um,
interview was almost a year ago.
since you started, so it's probably going to be less than 52 then.
Uh, since the D&D campaign started, it's been roughly 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
so about 12 Saturdays.
Okay, okay. So you're a bit of the ways in, but it sounds like you still have a lot of campaigning to do, a lot of adventuring left.
Oh yeah, there's a lot left. They've barely made it past like the beginning part of the story. they're still trying to figure out the city that I threw them into the very first session.
Okay, okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
My campaigns are normally less combat heavy, more are role play heavy,
Right, right.
and by that I mean I would much rather the characters interact with NPCs or themselves to tell a story versus them fighting in combat,
Ah, I see.
which can take the entirety of the 4 hours that we have scheduled for it
Right.
in one fight. I would rather see it other ways.
Of course, of course. I D so okay, so I know in Dungeons and Dragons you have DMs, right? Um, I
Yes.
play a lot of Warhammer Fantasy, and we have GMs or game masters. It's basically the same thing, but I would GM for my IRL friends in some Warhammer Fantasy, which is different from Warhammer 40K. Those are like two totally different things. Same company, but Warhammer Fantasy is essentially like, dragons, goblins, none of that sci-fi stuff, but just all classic fantasy, high fantasy stuff. Um,
Right.
yeah, and I'm big into role play. I give a little bit of XP at the end for best person to role play, right? Like broke character the least, essentially. Not a lot, just a couple of experience to keep people like in character, right?
Right.
But like I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Like, you could probably manage. Sometimes it's hard to be the DM, the GM, right? Because like you got to prepare so much stuff ahead of time, right? You got to like lead them the right way. All this stuff, but it's very fun. It's very fulfilling. But we only play once every 2 weeks now.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
I understand.
But yeah, like we should definitely play some D&D or some Warhammer or something one day. Just I would definitely like to collab some more, play some games, or maybe do another or anything really. Because you seem like a pretty fun guy.
I try to be as I don't know the exact word. It's not comforting.
Like accommodating. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. I try to be as accommodating as I can with everyone that I am accommodating with.
of course, of course.
Uh as far as like what goes on during a stream, especially when you've got people that are uncomfortable with certain
Of
topics and
course,
whatnot.
yeah. I get that a
I
lot.
try to stand clear of that. But at the same time, if there's somebody that's out there that just wants to chill, hang out, talk, that kind of thing, I'm all for it. Um, it doesn't even have to be on stream. I like hanging out with people.
Yeah, yeah, same, same. Like me and my buddies, we watch anime together, we watch movies sometimes. Of course we stream sometimes. Cuz like the thing about streaming is I love streaming, but like it takes up so much time. So I find ways to incorporate other things into streaming, right? Um like okay, funny thing. Before I started streaming, I would almost never draw. I would draw like maybe 2 times a year for like a bit, and then I just lose any motivation. I just like didn't want to draw anything. Ever since I've been streaming, I draw like literally every day because there's always something to draw, like fan art or draw art of my friends or something, right? Like I always find motivation to draw. So every time during work, at lunch, I take my lunch break, do some drawing, get home. If I'm not streaming that day, I might do some drawing as well. Every day I'm streaming. And it's been crazy. Like it's been so, what's the phrase I'm thinking of? Motivating, fulfilling. It's been very fulfilling. Always having something you want to draw, always something you want to create every day.
Definitely understand that.
Yeah, and that's
Definitely.
definitely one of the little gifts I wasn't expecting in streaming. So one way I combine streaming with other things to save on time is, sometimes I'll do art streams. That way I can do both streaming and productivity and drawing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right, right. So like that's why I like playing games because it's socializing, it's streaming. So I like streaming games, but every now and again I gotta take a little break, play some offline games or watch some offline movies. Nothing stream related. I'd say Sundays is my off day. There I do almost nothing stream related. I might tweet something every now and again, but other than that, almost no stream on Sunday. That's my off day.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Funny thing about social media. Before all this, I make my life sound so different before streaming. It's like like it's not like streaming was like some weird epiphany, some turning point or whatever. But like before streaming, I almost never use social media. I had a Discord, a personal Discord, and that's it. I wasn't on Twitter. I only used Reddit to like find how to fix computer stuff, and like that's it, right? But ever since then,
Right.
ever since the faithful moment, right? Ever since then, um, I want to say I had to learn, but more like I sort of wanted to learn the skill of like networking and stuff like that. So, I learned about Twitter, I learned about Reddit, I learned about YouTube and TikTok. I didn't even have TikTok or watch TikTok at all. But since then I'm like, okay, this is how TikTok works. This is what it's best for. And, I've been using all these social media and learning how they kind of work in order to sort of, get my art out there. Like one thing I'm really proud of is my shorts. Have you ever seen any of my shorts? It's fine if you haven't, but like I'm curious because I got some really funny ones.
I watched one.
Have you?
I watched one the other day when you were live. I clicked on the short before I clicked on the live,
Right, right.
and I watched one, and I think it was, oh shit. If I'm
Let me
not
see.
mistaken, I think it was one of the ones that was
My newest one was Death Road to Canada. Before that was Lethal Company, and before that was Baldur's Gate. Any of those sound familiar?
the Lethal Company one. I think is the one that I watched.
Ah,
The
okay.
one with the picture of
Mermaid Man.
the guy from SpongeBob.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mermaid Man. Yeah, yeah. Those I'm really proud of because that's what got me into editing. I think they're really funny. I think I've really improved. Like if you watch my earlier shorts, they're like not very well edited. Like they're okay, but they're like, kind of mediocre in editing. But my newest stuff, I really like my newest stuff. It's like everything I've learned in editing is like every time I make a short, I feel like this is the best one I made yet. At least in my opinion.
Okay. I've got two questions for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay. The first question is to do with networking.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give advice to any any streamer out there, any newer streamer, older streamer, whether they have 1 follower or 500 followers, what advice would you give as far as networking goes? Like, what is the best way to reach out to others?
So I would say the best way to reach out to others is kind of use the large net strategy, and that is kind of do a little bit of everything. Don't overwhelm yourself. I know, like social media burn, internet burn. It's all very real stuff, right? You get overwhelmed with all this stuff, but do it a bit at a time, right? So look at all the popular social media. So you got like Twitter, you got Reddit, you got Discord, you got TikTok, right? People on like Blue Sky and stuff like that. See what's out there and make an account on all of them, right? Start one at a time if you feel like you're going to get overwhelmed. Start with one. See what it's best used for, right? So, like for TikTok, they love their vertical short form videos, like, quick videos, all in vertical format or portrait, right? So,
Right.
I could just give some quick tips on each one as far as I know. I'm no master at this, but from what I know, here's some tips that I can give. So for TikTok, they love their short form vertical formats, right? So if you have anything, so like, as a virtual streamer, you can post your highlights there, you can post shorts there, you can post edits, you can post all kinds of stuff. Like all these social medias, they love sort of blending things. Like, you can message people on TikTok, but who uses TikTok for messaging, right? That's what Discord's for, right?
Right.
So because you never know which one people will, you never know which one you'll find your audience in. Let's say it like that, right? So if you make all these accounts and you post who you are and your content, you never know which one will gravitate. Maybe Reddit likes you more. Maybe TikTok likes you more, right? Maybe Twitter likes you more. Maybe YouTube likes you more. But post on all of them. Post on all of them, right? You sort of eventually get into the flow of things where like, oh, I made this and it goes best here. Right. So like my shorts, I post them on TikTok, I post them on YouTube, I post them on Twitter. I post them pretty much everywhere where it's appropriate because I never know where it will, find its audience. Right. And once you find that audience on that platform, then you can, start moving them over to your streams, assuming that you're, of course, a streamer and you're not some other form of content creator like a YouTube documentaries or whatever. But, from there, you can move them over to your main platform or really through Discord, honestly, like through Discord and then through your main platform. But yeah, don't be afraid of any social media. I was afraid of too much social media, right? Like I didn't have TikTok. I'm like, can I really make a TikTok? Can I really make a Twitter? I don't use these things. I don't know how they work. But make them, you know, and don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid that you're going to annoy people. If you feel like you're going to annoy people, those are probably the kinds of people you don't want to be networking with anyway, because they would be against talking to you and stuff like that. Smooth Mikey Mike, thank you for the raid. We're just having a bit of a chat right now. Let me see if I can do the title drop. Chatting with TheBraggs, and yeah, just quick recap. Put your net out there. Put a big net out there. Talk to as many people as you can. Don't be afraid of annoying people. I've actually learned in my experience, a lot of people like to be helpful. A lot of people like being helpful, right? So if you go out and talk to people on these other social media, ask them, like, how they're doing. They want to do anything. What's it like? Hey, Timber, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. We're just having a chat with the Braggs right now, and my little title drop just dropped right there. But yeah, don't be afraid. And, people love helping. Nim, Ryan, thank you for the
Yeah,
balls. Appreciate it. Yeah, my car gets robbed every time somebody subscribes. It plays a little like your car gets jacked. Timber, how you doing? Getting extra mold here. I'm gonna start making some cheese and some mushrooms. But yeah, that's my tip.
okay.
Microphone, hello.
The second question out of
I'm doing real good, thank you.
what we had discussed, the first one was networking. The second one is more along the lines of uh, you in general.
Okay.
When you decided to make your parody um,
My
Joey D King
right.
channel, um, what what is the best
Ryan
thing
Dandy guy, how you doing?
like to make sure you stick with your own theme per se? Like, what made you want to stick with the theme that you have? Like, I have the Comfy Tribe. I'm a comfy cozy gamer. I do interviews with people to try to research them, understand more about them, that kind of thing. But most of the time, I just play little grindy games where people can interact if they want to. But it's mostly a place where people can just hang out and chat.
Okay, I see. Give me one moment. First of all, I started and Goldie's been telling him dark jokes, and then Timber, now you. Dark jokes. I mean, like, I'm a fan of dark humor. I don't have one right now, though. So, you asked, like, what's been keeping me on theme? Like, what's been keeping me, like, doing what I'm doing, right?
Right, right. Like, what's keeping you on your set parody theme?
Mm-mm. I mean, one could say I'm, like, too deep into it, right? Like, I've made all this stuff now at this point. Like, there's no turning back, right? But that that kind of goes back into that personal reason I mentioned earlier as to why I started streaming. That personal reason is something I'm almost never gonna like really admit or say what it is. But like, from the sort of like um the reason I did give, like, the stuff I did answer to, I'd say that it's just artistically fulfilling, right? Like, I'm always on to the next project, right? Like, I showed you a couple of the projects I was working on before. I'm working on another big project, right? I'm making a fourth character. So, I guess I could say it now. Oh wait, give me one sec. I think I'll remember all the people I lost on the way. Maybe my budding career as a tour guide was not for the right choice. Reminds me of the Yu-Gi-Oh! What's it called? Tour Guide of the Underworld. The cute anime girl. But like, right. So yeah, I find it artistically fulfilling to do what I do and like create the stuff that I create, right? Like, you saw all the pictures and stuff like that. My next big project is, are you familiar with Jerome Leon?
No,
He
not even in the slightest.
Yes, he was a French painter and he painted this piece of Pygmalion and Galatea. And I've been studying that piece for the last couple weeks, and I'm working on a drawing. Wonder if I could bring it up because it's this, I think, is probably my best drawing yet, but I've not finished it and I'm still working on it. So this is my next big project. Let's see if I could bring it up on stream. Let's open up my OBS on my computer. But yeah, this is my next big drawing, and what makes it so big is, one, how much detail and characters in it, but two, also, like, it's going to be animated in live 2D. It's the last
Oh.
joke I'm getting off. Take care. I'll see. Today I asked my phone, Siri, why am I single? And it activated the front camera. Oh man, that's a bird. It didn't even need to activate the front camera. You could just look at like the darkness of the screen and be like, oh, it's my reflection.
Okay.
But yeah,
Did you read your chat?
yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Damn. I wonder what it says if you have Android. It just like doesn't even turn on. But yeah, like what makes this my next big project is I've been drawing it for a long, long time. Been a couple of weeks I've been drawing this, but also I'm gonna animate it in live 2D. So have you ever seen those like anime waifus of the like Azure Lane or like those like live 2D anime characters, right? It's
Right.
gonna be like that, but it's gonna be my drawing. So I gotta retouch up on my. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. Oh, here it is. Okay, here is some of the line art I'm working on. And let's see if I can bring up the sketch so you can see what it should kind of look like. Okay, so this is the actual painting by Jean Jerome or Jean Leon Jerome, French painter. It might take a little while to load in. Okay, it looks like it's good. Let's see if the OBS wants to pick it up. Okay, it's gonna take a little sec, but yeah, when the painting loads in, it's gonna show the painting of Pygmalion and Galatea, which is where I'm basing the pose off of. And use the sketch. Please sketch later shows up correctly. But yeah, this is like a very there's a lot of parts to this drawing, which is what I enjoy. That's like my jam. The whole like fresh list. But yeah, this is my next big project, next big drawing, and I've been working on this for a couple of weeks. I'm probably going to be working on it for a couple more months. But after that, I also have a small project to keep me sort of busy. In case I'm ever bored of drawing this, I got another thing I'm working on. Do you know those how do I say this? Do you know those big mouth talking bass that sing, right? Like the mounted fish that sing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so do you know the text to speech pets sometimes you'll see streamers have, right? Where like they'll have a little mascot or a little pet and it'll text to speech and
Yep.
talk. My next small project is I'm gonna make a a pet that is a talking big mouth bass. And what happens is chat can put in like text to speech and the fish will like talk and like move. And that's my text to speech pet.
I I've got to ask this. Is that part of your skit, or
Kind
do you actually call it a base?
So his name is Puny, the big mouth bass, and his name, as as the ongoing motif, my name is joking, right? My Oshi's name is parody. This Muppet's name is satire. The joke continues on with this fourth character, the big mouth bass. His name is Puny, which is short for pun or punny or paranomasia, as some people like to call it, if you're fancy, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I meant the actual word base, because from where I'm from, we call it a bass.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. See, I call him a bass or a bass because it's actually a double pun because he has. I wonder if I could bring up his sketch, but he has like four markings on his body, which is supposed to represent the four strings you commonly see on like one of those big basses, right? So bass, bass, because bass is spelled the same as bass. That's the pun. He looks kind of like a double bass.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So that's
That's the reason why I was asking. I was like, is that part of your skit,
that's
or?
yep, that's part of it. That's part of it. That's totally part of it.
Because like I was really confused for a second. I was like, it's a bass.
Oh yeah,
It's a bass. I kept wanting to say it's a bass. You're saying it wrong. It's a bass. No,
that's it. See, like
it's
that's what I
it's
want. I
bass.
want people to correct me. They're gonna right. They're gonna text to speech. No, it's bass, not bass. But like that doesn't really work with text to speech because you would text bass twice, right? Um, but like that's the joke. He hates being called bass when he's a bass, but he looks like a bass. That's the pun. That's why his name's Punny or Puny.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Understood.
all of this is like super well thought out. Like all the jokes, all the inside jokes, all the designs. Like you saw me rant on about the lines for the last 45 minutes. All this is like super well thought out. But when it comes out, oh man, it's gonna be chef's kiss. I can't wait till it's like done. Right, like the process of making it is fulfilling, but when it's finally done, you finally get to see the finished product. That's something else.
Okay.
But yeah, like we're hitting about the 2.5 hour mark. On weekdays, I normally stream about 2.5 hours to 3 hours because then I got to prepare for work in the morning. But if you have any other burning questions, any other comments, I can stick around for a little bit longer.
No, I'm good, bud. But if you do want to collab again, you can always hit me up on Discord.
Totally, of course,
Um, Maybe next time we can actually play a game together since we're now friends on Steam.
totally. One thing okay, so um, man, I love telling
Hey,
stories.
Pitbull.
Today's old story day. Um, I brought up a picture of Death Road to Canada a little bit earlier. One thing about Death Road, it's really fun. It's really fun. But one thing is, I got all my friends to play Death Road to Canada because you get to make your own character in it, and all the custom characters are all just virtual streamers. So I'm making like the ultimate save profile where every single character is a virtual streamer made by the streamer themselves, of course. So, um, if you don't mind, I think you'd have a lot of fun playing Death Road to Canada. But honestly, I'm up for anything. It's all good.
Okay, I'll have to look into it. I have no idea how much it costs. I am on a limited budget,
Oh,
but
yes.
I will look into it.
Actually, that's the thing. It's a remote play game, so you don't even have to own it. It's kind of like when you play split screen, like that. But yeah, uh,
Oh.
other than that, I think this is a good stopping point. We did a lot of talking, did a lot of chatting. Honestly, it's really fun looking back at this stuff because it is to me it feels like eons ago, right? It's only been a couple months, but for me it feels like forever ago. Looking back down memory lane, I don't do this often, so this has been very cathartic. This has been very very interesting.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, if you, like I said, if you want to get in contact with me, just message me on Discord.
Yeah, most definitely.
Um, I'm gonna give you one more shout out.
Thank you, thank you. Shout you out too. Man, let's see here.
I almost forget the ch on the end of it.
Oh yeah, that was a whole thing. I'm not sure if maybe I should change that because like now I don't see anyone use the ch anymore. But I don't know. Maybe it makes it more unique.
I mainly use the TTV just to let people know that I am a streamer when I'm using my Steam,
Oh right, of course.
because I play free to play games and it's a good way to get your name out there. Even if you're not actually streaming at the time, they still look you up in case you are.
Right. Yeah. You'll all maybe I'll play some TF2 or play some of my favorite classic games. Someone catches me, even if I'm not streaming. But yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, so
All right.
thanks for everything. I guess that's it for now. We'll definitely collab more in the future, but yeah, I gotta start wrapping up. Watch my One Piece, like I said, every day, One Piece,
Alrighty.
One Piece a day, and then wrap up for
Alrighty
work
then.
tomorrow.
Uh, well, I'll go ahead and mute and I'll see you next time. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my ending screen and talk to chat.
See ya. Take care. Bye bye.
Have a good one.